Hello. If usually I only take 5 minutes to start stream, but I needed to find my character pants. Welcome in, gamers. Welcome to okay. So first of all, this isn't replacing Cyberpunk. Okay, this is not replacing Cyberpunk. I just was not really feeling Cyberpunk today. I'm gonna be honest. I went into autistic overdrive. And I kind of just wanted to play Skyrim. Like, I don't know what it was, but I was really just sitting here and I was like, I want to play Skyrim. I want to play Skyrim so bad. So, Dogma, thank you so much for the resub. I really appreciate it. But if I miss anything, I have chat popped out, but there's like a slight delay. So, here's the thing, is like I said earlier, this isn't permanently gonna get rid of Skyrim Sunday by any means, or not Skyrim Sunday, Cyberpunk on Wednesdays, right? But I kind of wanted to have, like, there are some days where I want more than just one Skyrim stream per week. Sometimes I want just a little extra Skyrim. And here's the thing, right? One of my favorite things to do in Skyrim is to Riz, okay? And is to acquire wenches. So I was like, you know what? I've been wanting to do this for a while, where I just do a man whore playthrough. Like, that is literally the goal, is just being a man whore. Any character that I encounter where I am given the prospect of romancing them, whether it's through the vanilla game, whether it's through a mod, I am going to do it. Will I do it well? I don't know, but we're gonna find out. So let me head over here. And let me make sure my screen is rearranged. I did give him pants. Because I was like, it started up and I was like, oh, okay, we're good. We're good because okay, he loaded in with underwear and then his underwear went away. And I'm like, oh, okay. But did I give him pants? I think I did. And we're about to find out. But if he doesn't have pants, then just look away. Okay, just don't. Okay, okay, I guess I forgot to give him pants. Just, we're just gonna, ignore this, ignore this, ignore this. No. Okay, maybe I did forget, but that's okay. So, here's the dealio, okay? Actually, I'm still in Lorcon. I haven't even started the game, right? So, who is the man of the hour, okay? Because I didn't just one day you're gonna get banned. Not today! Here's the thing, right? I put all my VODs on YouTube, right? YouTube is fine with me showing, like, a glimpse of Skyrim cock, but if I play copyright music, then they strike me down. So, so basically, this is our man Jasper, right? This is our boy slut of the hour, okay? He is one of my OCs, right? As most characters, oh, this one's actually better. I'm gonna grab the orcish armor. Are we kind of metagaming? Yeah, that's fine, but that's okay, right? So, what we're gonna do, his whole thing is he is gay and homophobic. He's actually pansexual. But, he is going to be our man slut. Fun fact, I played him in a Pathfinder game with some friends, and I tried to put the Riz on someone, and it went really bad, and it went so bad, everyone made fun of me. The DM made fun of me. Keep in mind the DM is David. And then I muted my mic to cry, because everyone bullied me for having no Riz. So I was like, So here's the thing, right? Do we take Amulet of Dibella or do we take Amulet of Mara? Because, like, we're not about commitment, so I guess we'll do Amulet of Dibella, right? We're gonna need that speech skill. So let's grab that. We are ready to go. Let's see. Anything else we need? Potion of, let's see. Lasting. Yeah, we'll take these potions real quick. I'm sorry. Okay, I thought I was ready. I was not ready. So I did actually have a little bit of a minor, moment, when loading up. So, as you know, there's another, Skyrim update that has come out, which no one's happy about that. Literally, no one is happy about it. Also, the build we're going for this character is I want to do either... I'm not sure what I want to do either a Warhammer, because he does have a backstory, as do all my characters, right? He does have a backstory. I either want to do two, like, dual-wielding hand axes or a Warhammer. I'm not 100% sure yet which one. So I do want to see if there's, like, another hand axe that's a little bit better because there's multiple. What's that? Yeah, that's a battle axe. We don't want a battle axe. And then we'll take the crossbow and some bolts. Those are arrows. Are there bolts over here? Here we go. Yeah, we'll take those just in case so we have a ranged option. But I was a little scared because I went into like my fucking like files and shit, right, to make sure that Skyrim didn't update on its own because I had set it to not auto update, right? But it didn't listen, right? So now it's at a point where, and this made me really fucking mad. It's at a point where Steam will just force an auto update on you, and I don't like that. I'm gonna be real with you, besties. I do not like that. So I open Skyrim and I get an error message. I'm like, oh fuck. Oh shit. Also, I don't know where we're gonna start. I genuinely have no idea. But we're gonna walk around while I think about it. I need to get my perks still anyway, so it's fine. But what happened though is apparently Steam, even though I had edited like something in my I don't even remember like what the fuck it was, but I had edited something in my like Skyrim files that the Immersive Community Discord helped me out with to make it so that it could not auto update, right? So I look in when I get the error message, I look over and it says update pause. I'm like, no! Because if that update goes through, I'm going to have to downgrade it again, and downgrading Skyrim impossible? No, but it is fucking annoying. And frankly, I just don't want to do that. I don't want to risk that, okay? But yeah, so thankfully it's okay. But make sure, if you're in the Immersive Discord, first of all, if you use this mod pack and you're not in the Immersive Discord, you definitely should be. But they do have a guide to downgrading Skyrim, as well as preventing future updates. So it looks like Steam tried to pull a fast one and get me to still update. But alas, they were not victorious. I got them. We got them. So let's do, what's Crusader? A brutal fighter with a holy mission. Nothing we're doing is holy. Witch Hunter? Delves into vile layers to root out heresy within. No, that's not what we're doing. He's more of like, maybe Knight would work. Actually, no, let's go Barbarian. Yeah, we're going Barbarian. So, tactics, I laugh in the face of tactics. Perfect. That sounds great. And then we'll also get one more, flaw for perk. I did give him unlucky because I thought it'd be really funny. So we'll go more into his backstory right now. Frankly, right now I'm kind of like speedrunning this because I do want to get just into the game. I didn't have as much time as I wanted to make my character ahead of time. I am using a preset though, so it didn't take too long. What does mundane mean? Magic is reduced by, I mean, yeah, that's fine. We're not going to use Magicka anyway, so it's whatever. So let's go get warrior class, and then we will be good to go. So the overall vibe of this character, can you give him a bigger cock? I might, not on stream though. I'm gonna be honest, I was kind of disappointed with the default cock. I was like, wow, that's okay. All right. So I'm not sure where I want to start him with, honestly. What I'm thinking, because the type of guy he is, right? And whenever I play him in any like campaigns or anything like that, he's very much like your stereotypical mercenary, like pit fighter, gladiator type. He's all about the glory of it all, right? And like, this is gonna sound so cringe. Please don't call me cringe, right? The best like comparison I can make to him is like a blend of like Draven and Set from League of Legends. Because he's like big buff guy, all about like showmanship and being flashy. He does have a good relationship with his mom. But he's also kind of a dick. But like in a fun, lovable way, not in like a way where you like he'll do something and you're like, haha, you're so silly, you silly little man. Not like, oh my god, I'm gonna fucking kill you. That's at least the vibe I'm going for him. So I kind of want to start with Dawnguard. I think that would be like, cause Serana's like, everyone goes for Serana, you know. And personally, Serana is not like my favorite to romance, but I feel like we could start with that or like the Civil War, you know? I'm honestly not sure. I think it could honestly go either way. I don't know. I guess we can flip a coin for it. So let's do Heads is gonna be, here, I'll tab for this. Heads is gonna be Civil War. Tails is gonna be vampires, Dawnguard. So, let's see. Coin flip. Heads for war, tails for vampires. All right, it's on heads. We're starting with the Civil War. I'm gonna say something controversial, yet brave. I think it would be, in terms of Imperial or Stormcloak, I think he'd be a Stormcloak because he's kind of dumb. Like, I know that might, I know that might ruffle some feathers, but that's just my opinion. Like, he doesn't, but honestly though, I feel like he'd be the kind of guy that's like, yeah, I'm not really about politics. I'm just here for the hell of it. Like, he's just there for a good time. Does he actually know what the war is about or what they're fighting for? Nope. But he heard a bunch of people that were like, for Skyrim. And he was like, yeah, for Skyrim. Let's go. So there is the Reach Stormcloak camp, but I don't know if we want to start all the way there. Although I guess we could, just because then we can, like, I mean, like, it doesn't take long for you to be approached by the Dawnguard for them to be like, hey, do you want to kill some vampires? Like, it really doesn't take any time at all, but I do want to see if there's, like, any other, like, something maybe closer to Windhound, if that makes sense? Because the Reach is, like, yeah, isn't the Reach closer to, like, Solitude? Let me see. I do wish they had, like, borders of each holds and stuff on here. That would be nice. I know there is a map I can get, but I don't know. That's okay. Yeah, because I want to start, like, around cold shit. I think that would be good. Let's see. If I can't find a better place, we might just start at the first Stormcloak camp we find, honestly, which was the one we passed by earlier. So let me see. Red Wave, Below Deck, Helgen. Well, you definitely don't want to go there. Let's see what's over here. Riverwood. Yeah, this is all like the opposite direction I think I want to be going in. Silent Moons. Yeah. So let's go. We'll just go to the Reach one, I think. And, like, honestly, if we're starting off with the Stormcloak questline, it's going to send us to one of those places. It's going to send us to Windhelm soon enough anyway. So, where was it? Was it somewhere around here? Yeah, that's what... Oh, shit, oh, okay, that could have been really bad. That could have been catastrophic. Is he going to become High King? Honestly... Maybe, you know. Actually, I haven't played the Stormcloak questline. So one of the characters, when we voted on who was going to be my next big playthrough way back when, one of the options that was actually really close to Vanya, she was also a Stormcloak character. Kind of like for similar reasons as Jasper, but not like, it's, for her, it's less like, for her, her reasons were less like, I don't know what the fuck's going on in the war, and more, I want to fit in. Because I feel like I don't belong, and maybe this will give me a sense of belonging, whereas Jasper's just kind of a bumbling idiot. But that's okay, we love him for it. So, like I said, we'll go more into his backstory once I start, like, walking and shit. But I just need to fucking, where was that? Winterhold? This is probably this way. Dawnstar Shipwreck. Did I walk past it like an idiot? Probably. Nightgate Inn, Bleak Falls Temple. Did my dumbass walk past it? I really think I did. I thought it was by here. What's this one? Illinois Deep? I think I walked past it. Let's just go to Winterhold then, I guess. And we can always walk. You know, I'm not above walking. Stamina low. Great. We'll work on that, buddy. We'll work on that. It's not Bleak Falls Temple, Nightgate Inn. Yeah, I know. I should have just went for it when I saw it, but I'm a fool. That's okay. I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. Actually, it might be over here. I think it's up top, actually. So let's try kind of get to that pathway. Yeah, here's what I'll do. If I fall to my death in character creation, then it'll just be really funny. Hall of the Vigilant. Okay, we're getting there. I think it's like... No. Just looking for a fucking Stormcloak camp. Orc Stronghold. That's, like, not what I need. No. Where the fuck did it go? Hello? Okay. What about over here? Pizza. Hell yeah. I had pizza for breakfast. We had leftover pizza. So, I had some pizza. I guess? Alright. Well, it looks like we're just gonna go to where it's cold. Because I don't feel like wandering around anymore. I want to get fucking. So, that's what we're gonna do. So, let me see. Deepwood Vale. Nico Shack. Stone Hills. Yeah, we'll go in this direction then, because this says to Winterhold. What does it say? College of Winterhold. Starting at the College of Winterhold would unironically be really funny. Because he don't want to be there. Let's start in Winterhold just because I'm lazy. And we'll walk our happy ass over there. And you know what? We might get some mage bitches, you know? I'm not opposed to, we're gonna see what happens, you know? So, alright, we are at the College of Winterhold. We're turning the fuck around. So, I don't know, is there anyone for me to fuck in Winterhold? Dealing with backstories. Oh! Should we do a backstory for him? Honestly, I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to make a backstory. That's fine. Hey. He looks so stupid with the orc hat. Hi. He's not here for the I literally just want to see if there's like a romance thing. It might be you have to be in the college to romance her, and then we're gonna be in trouble. But I do kind of want to see what happens. Why would I want to complain about the college? Didn't we sex her on the last character? Maybe? Why are you out here? Why are you? What is this place? He doesn't know where the fuck he is. Where am I, lady? Turn around. Can I go in? I just wanted to see what it. Wait. I feel like for this character it could be fun to. I just wanted to see what it looked like inside. Can I go in? Will they let me just go in? I have no skill in magic. Oh god. I think we both know I'll succeed here. Oh, okay. Bye. Oh, here we go. Let me get all the courier stuff. There we go. No, I don't want to cross the bridge. I can't. I just wanted to go look inside. I just wanted to see if there was anything cool there. Okay, so what time is it in game? It's like noon. So I think we can probably get to Windhelm within the day. Yeah, we can probably. Oh my god, excuse me. Hi, Yara. Welcome in, Gear. We can probably do that. Let's skedaddly do it. And I guess we'll just walk our happy ass over there. Is there any bitches in here? The Frozen Hearth. I'm looking for bitches. My dick's cold. Alright, let's see. Who are you? Stephanie. We started off. Actually, before I do this, how much gold do I have? I have 500 gold. Okay. I heard a rumor you might offer some other services. I have $2 and an apple. Oh god. I feel like, you know what I think we need actually? Hold on. I think we need a tally. Are we so there is backstory to him. His backstory is actually kind of sad. Because I have a backstory for every character, right? But we haven't unlocked that yet. So we're gonna be a little silly, and then we'll get into his tragic backstory. Both his parents are alive, so like it's not as tragic as like it could be, you know? All right, here we go. I think we need this wench counter. So every time we get a wench, we mark that shit down, okay? And right now, it's about to be 1, okay? I'm gonna preemptively do this, but we're gonna go for it. A funny voice line idea? Hell yeah. Okay. All right. 25 minutes into the stream, and we are already doing sex. Let's go. That's gotta be a record. That's gotta be. It also only took 5 minutes for me to accidentally show my pee-pee, but you know that's okay. I'll let you choose. Surprise me. So is that gonna lead to... Okay, wait, it gave me women's underwear for a second. Wait, the animations actually work? This is the first time the animations have actually, like, worked. Hello? They don't ever work. Okay, well, that's the wrong button. I thought that was the end. I didn't think it would work. Huh? Okay, I'm done. I didn't actually, no, I didn't think it would, fuck, okay. How do I get out? I always do this. I don't know how to get out. Stop moaning. I don't like it. Okay, you know what, we're just, oh god, I haven't saved yet. My thought was, I was like, I'll just go back to, like, when I save. Okay, hold on, I have to fucking, okay, hold on, I have to make a Google search, because I genuinely don't remember how to do this. Okay, get out of scene, sex scene framework, Skyrim. I don't remember, but I wanna, how to stop. God, it's fucking not even 30 minutes in and I'm on Lover's Lab. Where is it? Yes, no. Bottom left of the picture, end is delete. Okay, end is delete. Hi. Okay, hopefully if I just spam delete, it'll let me not do sex anymore. Hi, Starbucks, welcome. Visit the Wizard of... What do you do again? Listen, if someone wants to voice that for EB follower, hell yeah. The dot key progresses the scene until end. Wait, so I can just, like, I can speed run sex? You change the length of time on your flower girl thing. Oh, okay. All right, delete. I'm pressing delete. No! That's not, why does he moan like that? Can I, you know how, like, in Sims, they have, like, the voice changer? Can I pitch shift his moans? I don't like them. Okay, what if I do this? No. What? I'm just pressing every button. Oh, automatic control mode. What's automatic control mode? Okay, exit HUD mode. He looks so stupid, by the way. His facial expression. I will show you one thing. Okay. Literally, I'm just gonna do this just in case. But if I can... Hold on. It's tapping back in. Look at his fucking face. He's just like, yeah. Okay, is there a hotkey for it? Can I, okay, I don't know what I did, but it stopped. That. Yippee! Okay. I sure did, and it only took us like 2 minutes. Record time. All right, wench, hold on. All right, it's official. Wench 1. EB 0. Okay, let me move myself back. I did break my model a little bit, but you know what? You know, the pigtails are cute. We'll go with it for today. Okay, we'll go with it for today. His fucking facial expression, dude. He looks so proud of himself. Good job! Yippee! Also, it glitched for a moment, and he briefly had women's underwear, and I think that's hilarious. But welcome in, gamers. Yeah. Imagine if all you heard during it was very aggressive Minecraft villager noises. Can someone mod that? Please? I think it would be funny. Okay, I don't know what I did. I think I just pressed, like, W a bunch, and that worked. What about you? Do you offer services? Jasper's gay and homophobic. Like, here's the thing, is I feel like Jasper's the type of person where he, like, got bullied a lot, so then he became a bully, and then, like, you know how they say, like, oh, the ones that are the most, like, I feel like he was absolutely closeted for a while. You know what I mean? And now he's pansexual. Heard any rumors? No. Don't care. Anything spicy? No. Don't care. Actually, do you have any bounty work I can help with? Cool. Okay. Because we do need to get levels, right? And unfortunately, hey, are you a slut? What's wrong with Ramir? The way she side-eyed me, I must have not been very good. What if I talk to him? Okay. Nice place you got here. Yeah, B. She keeps staring at me. Why is it so... He's so stupid. Why is it so empty here? Yeah. Oh, well, damn. You know what? That's fair. I respect it. Hold on. I forgot to put on my Mountain Dew Code Red chapstick. It's very important I have that. Gotta make sure my lips are ready for the ladies. I don't know. What would you do if you started making out with someone and it tasted like Mountain Dew? Like, unironically, what would you say to that? Like, what would you do? I need to know. Okay. Well, so pretty much to recap, what time is it? 1:54. So we arrived in Winterhold, tried to go look in the college. They said no. Actually, is the journal mod working? Because I feel like writing the journal would be really good. What is, hold on, let me see. Because I want to know if Take Notes is working in general, right? But also, because I do want to use it for Vanya, but also this could be funny. Hold on. Where is Take Notes? I still have it, don't I? Take Notes, here we go. What is the journal key? Options, book, controls. It's X. Okay, here we go. Okay. We'll give him a little journal. Just, you know, get an idea of his inner thoughts. Today, oh, motherfucker, I left my music on again. God damn it. There we go. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. Okay, let me see. So, there we go. Okay, today, oh, there we go. Today, I fucked a prostitute. It was pretty cool. She kept staring at me afterwards. So I guess that means I did a good job. Yay! He's the type of guy that would be like really tough in public, but then in his journal would hit you with the Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good. We've had a really good first hour of gameplay. So let's head to, I think we're good here. Did you have fun? Hello. Okay. Hi, Bird Daddy. Welcome in. I'm trying to riz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have none of these options are good. I'm gonna be honest. Was feeling a little off today, but you definitely turned me on earlier. Huh? Can't wait to immerse myself in. Wait. Hey, don't think I'm staring at your breast. I'm staring at your heart. Can you imagine? He says that and he does the little, like, heart hand sign. Listen. Relax. Don't get mad. I was just messing around. Listen. Why don't you come with me? Get out of Winterhold. This town's kind of a shithole, lady, right? Don't you want to come with me and see adventure and like adventure? Yeah. Okay. Oh my god. We can burn things together. Wait, I love that. I like to the way I really like this option, but he's not a caster, so it wouldn't really fit him, I feel like. Come on. You don't need to play hard to get with me. Wink. My VTuber model can't wink, just because every time I tried to fix it, she ended up looking high. What? Well, I still had sex with her, so she still counts on the wench counter. Get fucked. Who's the guy I'm supposed to talk to? Who was it? Talk to Ranmir. What's going on with Ranmir? What's your deal, dude? Why aren't you paying? Here, let me pop a squat next to you. Let me pop a squat. What's up, dude? Hey, level. I like the she puts like a hand over his shoulder. What's up, dude? The game volume's inaudible. Oh, motherfucker. Okay, this stream's a hot mess. I forgot to unmute my desktop. I'm so sorry about that. Holy shit. This game is I think having Skyrim be broken fucked me up so bad. I just forgot about everything else. So, you should hear sound now. I'm so sorry. Holy shit. You need to pay your rent back for all your drinks.
Who are you to say what I should do?
My name's Jasper. Do it, or things will get ugly.
I'll teach you to talk to me that way.
Oh, I'll kick your shins in, dude. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, hey, let me get up first. Goddamn. Let me get up first. Don't rush me.
No.
Look at that. Idiot. Oh shit, he went for it.
Just gonna stand there and take it? Fight back.
Yeah, he's got nothing. He's got nothing.
What was that? Some kind of foreign movie?
I called that a tornado kick. Here, let me fix it. My chat went off screen for a second. He kicked his ass, dude. He got him good. Hi, Karma. Welcome in. We missed some man moans. It's not too bad. Yeah, you didn't get man moans. I'm sorry. I'll make sure there's more of those later. I got you. Yeah, I got him good, dude. I got him fucking good. All right. That was You ready to pay up now? Huh? Look, he's still squaring up.
Fair and square. Tell Howard I'll pay.
I don't know why the subtitles broke, but that's okay. Alright. Well, where is she? Hey, lady.
Just say the word if you need a drink or something to eat.
Oh, there's my girlfriend over there. Radmir's agreed to pay his debts.
Thank you. He's not a bad man, just bad with his coins and his drink.
Me too.
My husband Dagger could tell you stories there. I have a couple of Ranmir's things that he traded to
You have a
his dad,
husband?
Still paying regular.
How, like, committed is that? Alright, wench number 2. Hold up. Wench number 2. Wench number 2. I said you'd get man. Hold on. Wench number 2. Wench number 2. Wench number 2. Can we get 2 wenches in the first hour of stream? Hold up. Hold up. You have wonderful eyes.
Thank you. Here, this is for you.
Wait. It zoomed out like it was supposed to start a scene, and then she just started sweeping the floor.
Who's been with you?
Apparently, she's my friend now, so you know what? We'll take that. Hi, Foxy. Hi, Lagwolf. Welcome in. I tried to sex a wench, and then she hit me with the "we're just friends." So that's okay. Alrighty. I guess the seduction didn't work out, huh? Damn, that's crazy. Hi, Mitchell. Welcome in, gamer. This is a... well, I thought we could get 2 wenches in Winterhold, but we still got a wench for Winterhold. And I think that counts for something. I think I got friend zone. It said start seduction, and I started seduction, and then she just started cleaning. So I guess I'm not... I guess it said she was my friend afterwards, though, so I guess I got friend zone. She did say she had a husband, but, like... Is it that serious? Like, I feel like he's just, you know, like I did do a good deed. She's married and her husband's behind the bar. Whoa, you know, what's that got to do with me? He could try swinging, you know, he can watch. I never said he had to leave, you know, like, bro, just let me fuck your wife. It's not that serious. Do we get bonus points for married women? I mean... I feel like we should. They really mean immersive. They can friend. Yeah, that's so fucked up. Killenberg, why are you letting me get friend zoned? I don't like this anymore. Hi, Swiss. I just got here. I have to agree with this. Oh, I do have Riz. Who's this? Who's this? Who's this? Is that a? Oh, give me some of that lizard boy pussy. What's up? Oh, okay. You guys. Okay, I guess we're not getting lizard boy pussy today. In Skyrim, they take marriage ridiculously seriously. That's true. I guess so. I guess that would make sense. Let me grab my weapons real quick, because it looks like it's time for some XP. Blam! Blam! What difficulty am I playing on? Because I feel like that should not have been that easy. Do we get extra points for rizzing MILFs? I mean, I don't know. Like... Do we go on a point system, or is it just like wench by wench? Add up. Let's probably bring it up to expert. That felt too easy. Before I end up bringing the difficulty back down like a baby. I don't know. Like, should it be a point system of like wenches, like each wench individually, or like are there bonus points for married women, for MILFs? Like, that's a good question, right? Does Serana count as a MILF? Because like she's like 500 years old, right? With Serana, wait, can I fuck the old ladies? I don't want to just go for MILFs. I want to go for GILFs. Right? When they say jump, I say how high. Hi, Nick. Serana isn't a mother, so she's not a MILF. Oh, okay, she's just old. She's just old. What the? Hey. Forget about it. That was still way too easy, but I guess we take those. We take those. Serana's mother's a MILF. Can I fuck Serana's mom? I want to know. Like, all ethics are out the window this playthrough. Tried to whiz up one of the Jarls. Wait, I think I can. I think with Amorous Adventures I can. Ask the mod maker. You know what? Maybe, who knows? All right, I'm gonna go this way. So, let's get into my man Jasper's backstory. Okay, hi Lily Gordon, welcome in. With enough willpower, anything's possible. True, very true. So, Jasper's whole deal, right, is if you remember, if you've been a long-time EV Games viewer, right, one of Jasper's character, one of the characters I played before Jasper, soft fluffy blanket, thank you so much for the follow. You know, guess I can keep girl boss. Welcome in, gamer. But if you remember from one of my earlier Skyrim Sunday series, I played a character named Severin. And he was a druid, a plant-based druid, and he was, like, very, very sweet. He's also canonically married to Vanya, my current OC that I'm playing through, right? What's up, dude? Okay. So Jasper is actually related to my current Eeveeverse of Skyrim OCs in the sense that he is Severin's brother. And the backstory, though, is Jasper came from a these bond became the witches, but Jasper came from a family of warriors, right? He was sworn to carry, you know, his father's name. They were a family of not just warriors, but also blacksmiths as well. So they were known for their whole thing is we will forge the blades that we will murder you with. They were very resourceful, very, you know, kind of like tough, like I feel like, I don't know if stereotypical is the right word, but your typical, like, we are men and we are manly, rah, like that kind of shit, you know, with like mercenary groups and stuff like that. And basically, Severin was adopted. Severin was just, like, found on a river, and Jasper's mom was like, oh my god, we should keep him. And they did. And Jasper's dad fucking hated this. And Jasper was like, hey, I don't think he's that bad. But eventually, when Severin was shown to continually be a pussy, and be into all that magic shit, and not want to take up a blade, Jasper defended him. And for this, Jasper and his dad got into a really big fight. And because he defended Severin, he lost his spot as the, kind of like, I don't know if heir is the right word, but the next in line to be the leader of their little, like, mercenary gang, their company. So basically, Jasper in universe, right, outside of this playthrough, where I am using him to be my man whore, he is on a quest to find his brother, reunite with him, and make things right. Because when they had their big fight, Severin left, and Jasper never got to say anything to him. So they've been separated, and he is looking for his brother. However, he is also very much kind of a slut. He flirts with women. His whole thing is, instead of just being a fighter purely for blood and gore, he ended up becoming like a pit fighter, kind of a gladiator, just because he loved the attention. He loved the showmanship of it all. So that's where he started getting bitches, right? Because people were like, oh my god, you're so hot, you kill people. So, like, he would get, like, mad baddies just because he knew how to fight. But then in social interactions, he's just kind of stupid, you know? So that's, like, the TLDR of his backstory. If you're reading my fantasy novel, he will show up at some point, just not for a really long time. Definitely not in Act 1, maybe in Act 2. So he is going to be a character in my fantasy novel. He is part of, like, all my OCs and stuff like that. But he's not, like, there right now, you know? Hi, Epic, welcome in! There was not a full model update, but I did get a new toggle, so I have pigtails now. But welcome in. You can't marry Anarchy, but you can marry her daughter. Good to know. He'll lose track of fighting his brothers since he's so distracted. That's the thing, is it's like, he does mean well. He does mean well, but like,
We Argonians.
he's got priorities, you know? The druid that fucked the Imperial woman in front of the entire Earth. Okay, you know, here's the thing, though, is what it ends up being is like, I don't want to give spoilers for my book, but Severin does canonically in lore get bitches. So Jasper's gonna be a little shocked to see that his brother has more riz than he does. But yeah, Severin was also the character that fucked his wife in front of the entire Imperial army after beating the Stormcloaks. Which, like, I'm gonna be honest, he was kind of based for that. Like, he was kind of real for that. Like, low-key, like, everyone probably looked down on him because he doesn't know how to fight. He's, like, this druid that just, like, makes pretty flowers. Like, you know how they say, like, I don't know, I heard this term on TikTok of, like, I don't know if this is, like, it's kind of silly, but I've heard this, like, saying where people be like, oh, yeah, this is a man written by a woman. And a lot of times it's referring to a guy that's, like, really romantic, does a lot of, like, romantic gestures, really thoughtful stuff. Severin is like that kind of character. You know what I mean? Also, I don't know how the fuck to get into fucking Windhelm from here, so I guess I'm just gonna go around. Yeah, that's fine. But Severin is written by a woman. He is very sweet. He's very understanding, even if he's a man of few words. Whereas Jasper's written by me. And I'm convinced if I was a guy, this would be me. Now that I've said that, I kind of regret it, but unfortunately, it is correct. Should've fucked Ulfric's wife. Wait, Ulfric's married? What? How did I never know that? Huh? Okay, let's actually cross over here, and then it might be easier to go around. Because I haven't been to Windhelm in, like, forever, deadass. Not since our Severin playthrough, actually, I think. Maybe with Rasha, but I don't know. Yeah, he's married? What the fuck? How does a war criminal have better riz than me? Huh? Well, that's not fair. You know, I can get bitches without being a war criminal. Just saying. I just thought it was funny to say, oh. I was genuinely gonna be a little mad. Like, are you serious? Ulfric gets bitches, but I can't? Damn, that's crazy. Hi, Vader. Welcome, Big Gamer. I don't know. I feel like here's the thing is, like, I don't like Ulfric as a character. Like personally, I don't like him. Like, I don't think he's, like, poorly written or anything, but, like, I morally don't think he's a good guy. But, like, he is kind of hot, objectively. And I know that's fucked up of me to say, but I'm just being honest. Whose side should I join? Imperials or Stormcloaks? So, this playthrough, I am going for the Stormcloaks route, but personally, I prefer the Imperials. Also, even in, like, that's just my personal opinion, but also, like, from a story perspective, the scene where you chop Ulfric's head off is kind of, it kind of goes hard. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. So let's head in and let's ask, Jarl Ulfric Stormcloak really nicely, if we say pretty please, and give him a little, wait, can I fuck Ulfric? Can I? The Stormcloaks are kind of racist, so I stopped liking them. Yeah, that's my big thing, is it's like, yeah, the Empire sucks, but, like, you don't gotta do the Dark Elves like that. Like, I don't like the Empire either, you know, but come on, man. He's single and has no kid, so he's available. No, unlike Jarl Balin. Yeah, Jarl Balgruuf is based. I love Jarl Balin. Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. It's like this whole interaction makes me upset. I remember the first time I saw this interaction, I was like, the whole time, because I'm like, listen, I get it, but, like, I don't know. Hi, Rhodes, welcome in, gamer. All right, is this our second wench of the day?
Good evening.
Hi. All right, time to, I'm rubbing my little hands together. Hello, gorgeous. Might you be available?
Hello, my love. Well, yes. So you're interested in my body?
Yeah.
What can I do for you?
There's something really fucked up about, like, this poor dark elf woman being made to feel like shit for who she is, and then me just getting some head in the middle of the street. You know what? Maybe I will have some shame this time. Because last time I did fuck in the middle of the tavern. Let's go somewhere more private.
Of course.
Where are we going? Lead your partner to somewhere nice. Oh, I know just the place. I know just the place. I'm ready. Hold on. If I remember where this is. Let's see if I remember where this is. Is it... I know just the place. This wasn't the one I was looking for. I think I was looking for the Hall of the Dead. But Temple of Talos is somehow funnier. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Okay, hold on. Let me censor the screen real quick. You know, y'all know how it's gotta be. Y'all know how it's gotta be. Okay, here we go. Alright. Hopefully I'll remember how to stop the scene this time. My model might go wacky because of all the hotkeys, but we'll see. Alright, I know you're praying, but can you leave? I'm in the middle of something.
Of course.
This is more important. We're just gonna... Apparently there's an option to just grab her boobs, and I think that's funny. Rhodes! Thank you so much for the 25 gift subs, gamer. You didn't have to do that. Thank you. Thank you for all the PlayStations. Thank you for every stream that was suspected. Thank you, gamer. That was very kind of you. Thank you for all the PlayStation 2s. That was very sweet of you. Holy fuck, that's a lot. Thank you. You know what? In your honor, I wish I had my 3D model on so then I could salute to you, right? In your honor, I will grab some boobs. This boob grabbing is dedicated to Rhodes.
Of course.
Here you go, buddy. 35 gold for wait. Oh, I thought she was grabbing my boobs for a second. Okay, that's not how that goes. Okay, let me see if I know how to fast forward this. There's kissing noises. I apologize if there's whoa. Okay, that's a lot of boobs. That's a lot of boobs. Okay, I need to just press the. This is what happened last time. Is I just there's the fucking moaning. That's what I'm saying. Why can't I change the moaning like in Sims? You know what I mean? That's what he sounds like, bro. Okay, hold on. Let me hold on. I'm gonna mute my audio for a second so you guys don't have to hear the moaning. But it's official. Wench counter. Where's the wench counter? 2 wenches per hour. That's 2 WP H. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can remind me to unmute my desktop audio after this. I need to figure out the actual button because some say it's period, but that never works for me. It feels like. Okay, hold on. There's still moaning happening. Trust me. Stop. Do I have to just like wait till they're done? Do we just stand here? I can't believe we're all going through this together. This is something else. Okay, hold on. I mean, I don't know what I expected. Cause like I need to fuck the wenches to get. Are you done? Okay. I don't know what I did, but I think maybe he just comes fast. I don't know. Maybe I didn't do anything. Maybe I pressed the wrong button. But the wedge counter is at 2. And everyone gets a PlayStation. Welcome in, though, gamers. The avatar of Debella. No, we took the amulet of Debella for the speech skills. I was like, we're gonna fucking need it. Okay, let's see. We got this. Listen to all those PlayStation noises, though, right? You don't need to hear moaning. You get PlayStation noises. Those are really the sound of the gods. But thank you again, Rhodes. I hope you enjoyed I touched that girl's boobs in the Temple of Talos to show my appreciation. Have you tried number pad period or just the... I have only tried number pad period, so maybe I'll try the regular one. But my numpad kind of sucks. I don't know what it is. Quick question, do they have physics? Like yes, there are physics. I don't know. You know what? And we'll bless up real quick. Bless up. I got you. That's like, listen, I pushed it for so long. If I did something, can you imagine if like that was a joke. joke. Don't think if you gift sub or sub to me, I'm gonna like start fucking wenches for you. Cause like I'm pretty close. Like I've made it real far. But if I put something on Twitch that's like for every sub, that's boobs I grab, like I'm gonna get fucking banned. And then we're no longer pushing it at that point. Short, medium, or long scene? I think it's default medium. Oh, okay. Hi, Goldsmith. Welcome in, gamer. Okay, so we're down to 2 wenches. What time is it? Okay, actually, no. We need to open up his journal. Wait, where's his journal? It's X, right? Okay. All right. This is what we have so far, by the way. Because, like I said, if you weren't here earlier, I think it's really funny if he puts on this really tough guy persona, but he writes like a teenage girl. I think that's hilarious. Okay. Later, I went to Windhelm because I want to be a cool kid like the Stormcloaks. Ulfric Stormcloak shouted some guy's head off, and I thought that was pretty based. Yeah. I then went to the Shrine of Talos to prepare myself to fight for Skyrim and bless up real quick. Then I found another wench, and we bing bong banged in the Shrine of Talos. If that doesn't get me in the Stormcloak army, I don't fucking know what will. Where's it? Okay, there we go. That's first day, 2 wenches. Okay, 2 wenches per hour is our rate. All right, what's up, Ulfric Stormcloaks? Oh, welcome into or why did I say welcome? I know you're here. Welcome back. That's what I meant to say. Make some sandwiches and come back with the sub. Yeah, everyone say thank you, Rhodes. If you got a sub, say thank you, Robes. I grabbed some prostitutes' boobs to show my appreciation. Not my boobs, someone else's boobs. Don't bring my boobs into this. I don't know. That's been low-key my... Wait, okay. Can we... Hold on. Okay, like I said, I don't like Ulfric Stormcloak, but like... Look at that lighting! Like, hello?
And what would you have?
Man knows a thing or two about... What is his Instagram? Get this man on Insta immediately. That lighting, though.
Are you going to wait? You think I need to send Bolgraf a stronger message?
Hey.
If by message you mean shoving a sword through his gullet.
Hi. Oh, Epic, thank you for the bits. I actually don't know if Sound Alerts is working. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can get them. I don't know if I have them still. I think I had to get rid of them for a recital, and I just forgot to add them back. Let me see if I can make sure that's there. I think it was browser. Sound Alerts. There we go. Let me make sure that's there. There we go. Okay, I apologize. That missed the time. I'm sorry, gamer. But I think it should be working now. And if it's not, I'll scream, I guess. But thank you, gamer. I appreciate that. Hi, Casey. Welcome in. Can I fuck Ulfric Stormcloak? I think it'd be really funny. Like, I don't know. I can see Ulfric Stormcloak willing to, like...
Soon.
I don't know. I could see him being into men. Not, like, openly. But, like, on the DL. You know what I mean? This stops the scene from repeating endlessly. Worked for the Imperial one, too. See, I thought you were talking about the sect. What did I do?
Things hinge on Whiterun.
I didn't do anything. Thank you, Epic. I appreciate that. Well, now we know. Oh, wait. Hold on. It played for me, but it didn't play for you. Let me make sure sound alerts. There we go. Okay. Now it should work for both ends. All right. I'm sorry about that. This stream has been fucked up. This whole stream has been scuffed to all hell. Once it jump scared me into thinking Skyrim was gonna update, it was all fucking Jover from there. Yeah, Ulfric is secretly a power bottom. I can see it. I can see it. Hello.
Only the foolish or the courageous approach a Jarl without summons.
Why does he have like the corpse husband voice? I heard rumors you were at Helgen, my fellow manly man.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Destined for the chopping block, if I'm not
Get this man to do like some like your boyfriend comforts you ASMR. Oh my god, he would make so much fucking money. Hi, Hidden, welcome in, gamer. I could have gone anywhere. I came here to fight the Empire and eat your boy pussy, Ulfric. I'm sorry, something about the sub sound going off then. Hidden, thank you so much. Oh, Sonelia, thank you so much. you. Welcome in. I'm about to pound Ulfric's sweet boy pussy.
A vampire.
Probably not, right? We might have to work up to him, but we can do it. I believe in us. If we have the fortitude, I think we can fuck Ulfric. Can that be our end game? Not like end game for the playthrough, right? But just like a end game. You know what I mean? No, Carson! Oh god, this is gonna be hard.
They have families to think of.
How many of their sons and daughters follow your
I don't know what to say. Well, no, I cannot swear.
Well put, friend.
They're just going to engage in coitus.
Why do you
That's
fuck?
allowed. That's not a swear word. That's a what?
Why do you
That's not a scientific word, is it? Isn't it just like proper? Because the scientific term would be intercourse, right? I don't know anything about science. I have a music degree.
I've held in my arms,
How? By the way,
dying on foreign soil.
how do
I fight for their wives
Hey.
and children whose names I heard
Hey.
whispered in their last
All right, I
breath.
can swear again at
I
7:45.
fight for we few who did come home.
Hey.
Only to find our country full of strangers wearing familiar faces.
Uh,
I fight for my people.
uh.
Impoverished to pay the debts of an empire too weak to rule them. Yet brands them.
The way he's staring at me, he's kind of popping off. Like
I fight so that all
he's really like
already died.
putting his whole soul into that speech.
I fight because I must.
Did you really have to yell that guy's head off though? Like, don't get me wrong, that was kind of like a power move, but I feel like it could be a little excessive.
would be the day when soldiers like
Coitus is a technical term. Oh, well now we know.
I was
That's what
glad
I
to
thought.
retire from the world.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Get this man on ASMR immediately. Oh my god, he would make so much money. Alright, hi.
Speak with Galmar.
Okay.
Size you up and see where we can best use your talents.
Okay, I was looking to see if there are any romance options. How goes the war? Is it going like good?
We should take
Yeah?
that march. It'll be an important pressure point on the Imperials. We'd be within spitting distance of the capital.
Okay. So you shouted the king to death. How'd that feel? As a vocal coach, okay, as someone who has a degree in music and has been a singing teacher for the past 6 years now, I think, I feel like shouting someone to death, and that can't be good for your chords, man, right?
Not entirely true, though not entirely false either. Any Nord can learn the way of the voice by studying with the Greybeards, given enough ambition and dedication. My shouting Torque to the ground proved he had neither.
Oh.
However, it was my sword piercing his heart.
Oh, so you didn't actually shout him to death. You did the shout and then you stabbed him to death. But you tell everyone you shouted him to death because that sounds cooler. I respect it. I respect it. We know why he's fighting the war. He just had his monologue. Why'd you kill the High King?
I killed Torque to prove our wretched condition. How is the High King supposed to be the defender of Skyrim if he can't even defend himself?
Fair enough. What of his widow? I'm also going to coitus with her too.
Indeed, Elisif has become
Wait, if I marry Elisif, can I become High King of Skyrim? Like, is that something I can do? I don't think you can in vanilla, but with mods, can it be possible?
Met to name her High Queen.
Because
They won't. Not as long as I have any say in it.
Wait, getting with Elisif as a Stormcloak? That's a power move. Hold up. Do you desire to be the High King?
There hasn't been a true High King in Skyrim for generations. For too long.
Can
he's
I
been
do that,
handpicked
though?
by the Emperor
Like,
and given
I
his
wanna be
status
the
back
High
by
King of
military
Skyrim.
generals addicted to Imperial coin. It's time we had a real High King. One of our own making.
I agree. Me. Okay. I think we're good. We'll talk to Galmar. Let's see. Hello? Hello? Oh, you're not Galmar. Hello?
But first, tell me, why is a Red Guard want to fight for
That's a
Skyrim?
great question. So, you only take Nords? Like, is that...
You mistake me. I'm not saying no. Just wondering.
I would love him. Yeah, same.
We're not looking for sellswords. The Stormcloaks need dedicated men and women who were devoted.
I just really like the color blue. That's why I'm here. I want to join.
All right.
Yes!
Before I can put you through,
I just really
need to
like
know
the
how
color
much
blue, and
I have a test for you.
I think it'd be neat. I can handle anything you throw at me.
That's what I like to hear. So long as you can back up those words with steel. I'm
Heck
sending
yeah.
you to Serpentstone Island. If you survive, you pass. If you die, well, you weren't going to be much use to me anyway.
Fair enough. What's at Serpentstone Island?
It's where men have tested their metal for ages. It's a strange rock formation built by the ancients. Something about that place attracts the ice wraiths. You kill an ice wraith out there, and I'll have all the proof I need about you.
Does every recruit have to do that?
Only the ones I'm not sure about.
Hey!
This will
Well,
prove
I
your
mean, I
innocence.
guess he's honest at least. This music does go hard though.
Commitment.
Well, I'm off to kill that ice wraith. I'll be back tomorrow for lunch.
We'll see about that.
I hope they're serving pizza crunchers.
Use it on the island. Don't lose it. That's all the help you're getting.
What is he giving me? It's probably the Ice Wraith essence or something. Yeah, Ice Wraith Bane and Elixir Resist Cold. Okay. Alright, so what time is it in game? Because part of me, like, low-key, I don't know if trying to go kill the Ice Wraiths when it's nighttime is a good idea. But, dude, like, can we, like, just take a moment to appreciate that lighting? Like, oh my goodness. That's crazy, right? That looks so good. Okay, let's head out. Alright. And I guess we'll get a room at the inn for tonight. Maybe we'll find some more wenches. Who knows? The night, we have 40 minutes to increase our wench counter for the day. Our wench per day rate.
What do you need?
You. Let's keep going. Windhelm Guard is my acquaintance. Thank you, Windhelm Guard. Very cool. Okay. Let's head over here. Is that the wench I... Yeah, sorry, I forgot her name. What's your deal?
Spare a coin for an old woman, my lord.
So... oh, this is bad. What would you do for, like, 25 septums?
I guess I can offer you my body.
The night is still young. The night is still young, besties. Okay, here we go. Here we go. You ever think of doing a survival run? I would love to. I just don't, the mods, I kind of want to, I don't know what I need to download, you know?
This is the last we'll talk about it, right?
Yeah, I forgot your name already. Okay, let's see if, period on my keyboard works, and then, wait, I just got the gift, I got the gift of charity for that! Also, I'm trying to, like, show it without, there's, like, this is all happening, and then there's a guy just dancing in front of us! Okay, go faster! Go faster! Is it like that? No, okay. What about print screen? I just took a screenshot. Okay, that's not it. Let me... I don't think I can have the moaning noises playing. Is this a little jank that I have to alt tab for this every time? Yes, but, it's funny, so it's okay. Have a lock key, which turns the right levers into a numpad. If there's not, click the controls button for how to do this. So delete is end. Yeah, it says it should be delete, but it's not for some reason. So I don't know why it's not working. Because there is a way to just auto end the scene. Because that was my original plan, is like, do the scene, get into it, just so it counts, right? And then get out of it, right? Maybe I have to hold it? Because that would make sense if I had to hold it. You know, like, you don't want to accidentally mess that up, I guess. I'm pressing all kinds of buttons. Ooh. My hat's going down. She's going down on me. Lots of things are happening right now. Do I have to just wait? What if I try to... Okay, I think if I just, like, try to move, then it works. I think that works. She's glad to see me! Alright. Three wenches. And did we make it? Did we make it before the day is done? Here, hold on. I'm gonna run an ad break after this just because I need to. Unless one ran already. I'm not sure. You're welcome. 12:07. All right, we just barely made it to 3 wenches in one day. You know what? I say to that, we take those. Okay, we absolutely, we take those. We take those. Also, I just realized my screenshot button and my outfit change button are bound to the same. They're bound to the same key, so I'm like, oh, okay. Let me see something real quick. Yeah, all right. I'm gonna run my ad break just so I can fix my model and get more water. We will be back very shortly. So just give me a few minutes to fix my model and get some water, and we will be right back. Bye. Where's my screen? Hold on. Where's my screen? BRB. Yeah, babe. Okay, and then turn my music back on so you're not alone. Are we back? Hello? Hello? I think we're back. Okay. Yippee! Alright, I fixed my model. I fixed my dick. Everything is okay. Let me make sure my chat is up before we tap back in. Yeah, I'm very annoyed, low-key, that my Twitch chat has broken, but, like, it is what it is. I don't know why, though. Like, I literally, like, loaded up OBS. Like, this whole stream was, like, stressful. Because usually, the mistake I made is I gave myself 5 minutes to get ready, right? Which is not the optimal amount of time to do that, right? So I got up, and then everything was breaking. So, you know, it happens.
Let me know if you want anything.
Who are you? Why are you...
You want a drink?
Why'd she run up to me like that? Wait, another one? More wenches? Okay. Excuse me.
Huh?
Wait, what? I don't want you. Wait, I hate that. Do you have anything, oh, cost 69 gold. Alright, I guess we're wenching. I guess we're wenching. Okay. Let me, fuck, I didn't think it would happen this fast again. I feel like I just need to, like, permanently, like, have you guys just stare at me, I guess. Alright. Wench counter going up to 4, I guess. God damn. Okay. Well, I kind of want to go for the 60. There's a 100 gold option and the 69 gold option, but the 69 gold option sounds the funniest.
How can I argue with that?
Aha! Okay. Does that work? Wait, what? Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Hi, Joker. Welcome in, gamer. I'm trying to get as many Skyrim bitches as I can. Well, let me try again.
Of course.
There we go. Wait, what? Oh my god, wait, there's like a whole cutscene. What furniture do I want to use? None, bed, bench, chair, or shelf? Shelf, that sounds freaky.
Watch what you're doing.
Oh my god! The CW the other one was a mod. Oh my god! I hope I don't fuck this up, but fucking, I have to show you this. Fucking, something broke, and I'm like staring at her. I have phased into the wall. Like when it said shelf, I thought like against the shelf, not in the shelf. Oh my god! Also, hi DJ. Like I'm in the shelf. Okay, that one I was able to end. Okay. Well,
I couldn't be more pleased.
yay! 4 wenches! 4 wenches! I didn't think I would phase into the shelf. Okay, I feel like we need like a little song that plays whenever I get another wench, low key. I feel like we can make that a little bit more momentous. I'm gonna be honest. Oh motherfucker, my chat's not showing up again. Let me see if I can do that real quick. There we go. All right. So, I guess we'll go to bed then. The fact that it was 69 gold was really funny. Let's see. Hey. Hi,
Got some
Elda.
fresh baked bread and good cheese if you're after a bite to eat.
Okay, I was looking to see if she had an option. Could I rent a room, please?
Sure thing. It's yours for a day.
Thank you. Yeah, okay, that's it.
I'll show you to your room. Right this way.
What'd she say? Where's my room? Where are we going? If you pick the adultery debuff in backstory, it gives you a venereal disease. Wait, can I get herpes in Skyrim? Oh my god.
Let me know if there's anything.
What's going on over here, by the way? Yeah, okay, does anyone have an explanation for why the Leviathan Morganite stone is just in some random inn in Windhelm? Because, like, I don't have a good explanation. Like, it's, like, so fucking out of place. Like, yes, look at this beautiful, quaint, cozy fantasy inn. Oh, yeah, don't mind my fucking orb. Okay, alright, well, I guess we'll go to bed. It's 1 a.m. Jesus Christ. Alright, go to bed. Go to bed. Wait, what? Okay, 1, 2, 3. What does the other number mean? I want to sleep for 8 hours. What does the 17 mean? Huh? Here, we can get up now. There we go. I don't know what's going on. Month last heat. The summer heat is warm and relaxing. Okay, cool. So I guess we're in summer now. Good morning. Good morning, Windhelm. It's very quiet in here. The lighting does look really good. Oh wait, even up here it's like crazy. Oh my god.
How can Elda hate the Dark Elves when she
God,
has the
one at a
Dark
time,
Elves
ladies,
and Wolves?
please. Wait, what'd she say? Huh?
You didn't hear it from me, but if you want a real drink, try the Corner Club in the Grey Quarter.
Okay. What's on the menu?
Depends. Are you thirsty? Hungry?
Hi, Cliff.
Both.
Welcome in. Wait, I can barter? I didn't know I could barter. I really just thought it was another prostitute. I'm gonna be honest. But, I'll have some bread and a beer. Yippee.
See you around, handsome.
Why can't I fuck her? She was nice to me. You just ran up to me.
What can I do for you?
What are you doing? Oh, okay. Like, you just pulled a broom out of your ass. Okay, that's fine. What about you? What's your deal?
Hi there.
Hi. So here's the thing, right? You seem like you're like, I'm not sure if we should count the ones that are just start seduction, right? Because that's on there for, like, almost any female NPC, right? I feel like I need a chance to, like, because I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. If we do every NPC that says start seduction, we're gonna be here all day. She is cute, though. I mean, I'll let chat decide. Do we add another wench to our wench count? What is that guy doing? Okay. Do we add another wench to our wench counter this early? Also, why is it so silent? I need background noise if I'm going to have sex. Oh, why is it all dark now? Oh, I'm afraid of the dark. We need to go for the high score. Okay, you know what? I think if it's the other mod, because the other mod we fixed quickly. I don't know what's going on with the first one. This one, if we can end it quickly, if start seduction is the mod that I can end quickly, then we'll do it. Because that was like a 1-2 pump chump, okay? And that I can do.
Oh, you and I should spend some time together.
Yay! Yippee! Where are we going? Wait, what? Hold on. Something didn't work. She said we should chat. I really hope I don't get blindsided by this, but I don't think you're gonna believe me otherwise. Chat, she said we need to spend some time together, and then she pulled out a katana. What does that mean? Like, I'm not.
What can I do for you?
She's my friend now. I think I got friend zoned again. At least she showed me a cool sword.
Don't stay away for too long.
Wow, why are you talking to me like that? Apparently she's available to be married. What? That's a cool fucking sword. What's your deal? Wait, hold on. What's going on over there, buddy? What's going on with your eyeballs, buddy? Huh? What's going on there? I got friend zone twice. Okay, do we need like a friend zone versus wench counter? Maybe she likes playing with sword. That's a big sword. What about you?
I'm a sailor on the north.
Okay, you're a sailor on the Northwind. Got it. Okay. Well, I don't like getting friend zoned. It hurts my feelings, so I'm leaving. I don't want to be here anymore. So let's go do Civil War things and take a break from having sex. We'll do a little bit of plot, just a little. Okay, so let me see. I guess we'll... Oh yeah, I should read the bounty we got too. So let's see if we have the bounty, because here's the thing, right? We do need levels. Rumor has it the Forsworn raiding parties have been pushing farther and further east along the Gerald, the Jerry Mountains. The arrival of Legate Facendil has prevented further incursions, but they failed to apprehend their leader, Crow's Tooth. While Crow's Tooth has been separated from her forces, she is believed to have fled with considerable spoils. In an effort to put an end to this threat, anyone killing Crow's Tooth may claim her stolen loot. Ooh! Mercenaries like infamous sellsword Bjorman Windstrider have been seen heading into the mountains beyond Darklight Tower. While they could be after the treasure, it is feared Crow's Tooth is gathering these forces for a renewed assault. We ask any capable warriors further in dealing with this potential threat. Okay. Let's do my morning journal entry. Very important, okay? Morning journal entry, okay. This morning, I met another pretty lady. I asked her to have sex with me, and she said no, but she showed me a cool sword. So that's cool, too. I'm going to kill ice wraiths and do a bounty because I want money. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So let's go on to, I guess we'll just do what's closest. I have no desire to do Helgen Reborn right now. I'm gonna be honest with you, right? This is gonna be kind of the traditional Skyrim Sunday play route, along with some fuckery, literally fuckery, in the sense that if I don't want to do it, I'm not gonna do it. This is not gonna be the completionist run that Vanya's is. So if it doesn't fit the character, we're not doing it. Okay, let's chart out our path for the day. So the Ice Wraith is all the way over here. So I guess we'll just go to, where is the bounty? Oh, that's all the way over there? Okay. Well, we'll head over here, I guess. Make our way over there. And shit, we're gonna have to like swim through the waters and foot. Oh, that's gonna be brutal. But I know we can do it, okay? Hopefully we'll find some more wolves and stuff on our way here. So maybe we can reach, how close am I? I'm not even halfway to level 2, dude. I haven't done anything. All I've been doing is sucking and fucking my way through Skyrim. So hopefully we'll get another opportunity. So let's see. Yeah, we'll just go through straight. Oh god, that's gonna be so far. Cause there's no there's no easy way to get there, is there? Well, we can go through the mountains, but we're still gonna have to. All right, time to go into the icy water. I am not a pussy. I am not gonna get frostbite. Whoop. I will take a little bit of fall damage. I can't talk today, bro. I will take a little bit of fall damage, but that's okay. Can I give me XP for running very fast? Okay, my man's just doing a marathon. Wait, what happened to one of my axes? Oh, okay, I still have it. I thought one of the wenches stole my axes. I was gonna be so mad for a second. Man, I am surprised that Mirren didn't sex us. I thought that was like, I'm kind of disappointed. She was kind of hot too. I liked her. I like the goth look. It's pretty close to one of the player homes. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't do a lot of stuff in Windhelm usually. So that's the thing I need to figure out with our main playthrough, our Sunday playthrough, is we are going to have to do Civil War. Honestly, we'll probably just do Imperials for that playthrough since we're doing Stormcloaks for this one. And we have done the Imperial one recently, but I think it'll be fine. I need to look at how many artifacts we get from the Civil War thing, because I'm not actually, I'm wondering, we're definitely going to hold off on Civil War till the very end, though, because once you get the Civil War rolling, there's certain quests that become, like, locked in a way, and I don't want to potentially miss out on any artifacts. You know what I'm saying? Just because that museum is my lifeblood. I don't know how many total displays we can get, but it is gonna... We aren't in the end game by any means, right? But we're really close to 300 displays in the museum in our Sunday playthrough. So, does it mildly wound me to see stuff in here with the plus mark on it and I can't use my little grabby hands and grab it? Yeah, it does, but that's okay. It's fine. It doesn't hurt. It's fine. Really. Like, oh my god, okay. Oh, I thought the goat was my enemy for a second. I was like, what the goat do, bro? It's not, this isn't the goat's fault. Alright, come on, bro. One more. Come on, just get the chutzpah for it. There you go. Okay. We are also going to do, I know it's obvious we're going to do like one-handed and smithing. I think we're going to have him do the one-handed weapons just because we can make jokes about him jacking off. And that is invaluable to me. But we're also going to do smithing as well for his character backstory. Probably going to be one-handed, smithing, and heavy armor, right? Nothing too crazy, you know, nothing too spread out. And maybe we'll use speech as our dump stat, you know. So let's go over here. We can see the lighthouse. The lighthouse in the distance actually looks really cool. So I don't know. I feel like Skyrim usually doesn't render that well in the distance. So that's kind of nice. I'm into it. Let's see. Yeah, his stamina is like nothing. How much XP did that give us though? Like, I'm like, please give me, please. The Daedric Castle costs a lot, but it gives you hot Daedric lady followers. How do I get that? I want hot Daedric lady followers. When do I unlock that? How much money is it, and where can I buy it? How much gold do I have? I have 200 gold. Will that be enough? Maybe if I ask really nicely, they'll let me have it just for free. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm not convinced this is, like, I put it up a difficult, I think it's on expert now, but it does feel very easy. Let me see. Yeah, it's on expert. Oh well. I probably shouldn't change it anymore now because I say it's easy and then that Ice Wraith is gonna kick my fucking teeth in. That's not gonna be fun. Okay. Oh, hello, sir. Hello. Hey. Hey, do you wanna square up? Whack! There we go. All right, perfect. All right. I'm very excited to play this in VR, by the way. I've only played Skyrim in VR once, but with my 3D model debut, I'm definitely going to be playing some Skyrim VR. I don't know if it's going to be modded, right, but we're definitely going to do something. I am debating, so we do have David's, one of the things I want to do on my Skyrim model debut stream, it's probably going to be a subathon, honestly, because I haven't done a subathon in a really long time because of my Skyrim model debut, is I need to figure out how to balance multiple mod lists. Because one of the things I also want to do is I have a really fucked up mod list that David made me that I want to do then too. And by fucked up, I mean stuff like the Todd Howard Moon mod, right? The Thomas the Tank Engine mod, right? The silly mod. So that was the first time we did it is where the infamous David Where Is White Front clip came from. So I want to do that again. But I also want to play VR Skyrim and I also want to play the collection. VR Skyrim I'm not worried about as much because that's like a whole separate game. But I know that with some of the silly Skyrim mods, they don't have them available for, because originally my plan was to use Old Rim, so that way, again, it's 2 different games, right? So we're not going to have to worry about, like, cross-compatibility, not cross-compatibility, that's not the word I'm looking for, but, like, fuckery happening with my main saves, with my main collection, my main load order, right? So, I don't know exactly what we're going to do with that yet, but actually, hold on, let's kill some Horkers, because we need XP. Like, we're getting into grind territory. But that's okay. We have, oh my god, I'm trying to hit, but he's out of stamina, so he's just standing there. Like, come on. There you go. Okay. All right. He's not taking a ton of damage here. Just regen a little bit. Regen a little bit. Come on. There we go. Okay, at least he regens pretty fast. Whoa, holy shit. Okay. All right, we'll take that. If we come across another one, yeah, there's another one. Okay, let's get that one. Let's get that one. Here, I don't want to sprint over it. He like Naruto runs. Do you see that? Meow. Wait, no, he didn't do it. Meow. Is anyone behind me? No. Okay, good. All right. Hello. I need your body for XP. Not for the reasons I've been saying that to most people. Okay. There we go. Come on. Okay, back up, back up, back up, back. There we go. All right, come on, come on. Wait. No, no, he missed. Oh my god, you stupid motherfucker. I blame it on him, but it's me. I know it's me. Okay, here we go. Come on, walk up. Walk up. There we go. One-handed increase to 28. Okay, come on. There we go. Okay, bam. There we go. All right, I'm trying to figure out how like far away I can be when I hit him, because he does like take a step forward a lot when he hits them with this combat mode. Okay, there we go. Bam. There we go. Come on. There we go. I love the different animations, right? I love that. Okay, let's see. Come on. Another one. Okay. Back up a little bit. Back up a little bit. Oh, he's waddling. He wants me, bro. Come on. Nope. All right, perfect. You love to see it. All right. We're gonna keep that Horker tusk. Let me grab an extra because I know Ysolda's gonna want one, and I will give her that Horker tusk if you know what I'm saying. Let's see. Yeah, we still got ways to go before the ice wraith, but he's here, so I guess we'll bonk him. Oh god. Okay, I actually have to be careful. I might die. Okay. Alright. Alright. Be smart. Be smart. Be smart. Be smart. I can do it. I can do it. Okay, come on. Come on. One more hit. Almost. Oh, you're so close, bro. You're so close. Come on. Come on. There we go. Wait, why does the Horker have a ring? Are you married? Congratulations. Okay. Alright, let's go over here. And hopefully, if the level 3 Horker gave us that much shit, the ice wraith is gonna kick our fucking asses. Okay, it's more stamina. First and foremost. Let's go one-handed first. Because he's not losing health super fast, but yeah, I think that'll be best. One-handed mastery. And we're already almost halfway to level 2. Okay, so I'm glad we killed those Horkers, because I think that'll pay dividends in the future. So let's head over here. Can I like hop skip on the little hop? Hop. So I don't have to swim? Okay, yeah, there's one over here. Okay, there's another Horker. Let's get him. We're gonna be eating good when we get back. I do wish the Horkers dropped like some type of pelt. You know what I mean? Because that would be really convenient, actually. And it would make sense. All right. There we go. Okay, we do a lot more damage now. There we go. All right. We aren't in one-shot territory yet, but it's coming. There's a conjuration spell mod in the collection that gives you Daedric Mistresses. We'll need to look into that. We'll need to look into that. Okay. There we go. All right. And then you. Okay, you need to back up. You're getting too much of my personal space. I'm not ready for you yet. Okay, now I'm ready for you. Bunk, bunk, bunk. Bunk, 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 bunk. Alright, Eepy. Eepy, I'm Eepy. Okay, I'm no longer Eepy. Okay, I need one more. I need like one more good hit, and then he's done so. Ba ba ba. Okay, come on. One more. One more. You can do it, buddy. You can do it. Oh my god. He has like 10 HP left. Come on. There we go. Okay. Alright, that's better, I guess. it's something. We'll take it, I suppose. Alright. Thought I could climb the iceberg, but I guess not. So let's just kind of head in the direction of the ice wraith, and we should be okay. Let me take a drink of water real quick. Okay, come on. Is it? I'm trying to remember where it is, because I remember vaguely where it is. It's like a little cave, right? Yeah, I think it's along this bank right over here. So let's see. The water does look really pretty, like this reflection right here. It's one of those things I didn't notice until I went, like, over here, if that makes sense. Yeah, okay, I see it. So, let's swim across there. The little tiny Magica bar, by the way, is so funny to me. We'll swim up here so we don't accidentally drown. Wait, why is the water green? Do you see that? Is it radioactive? Imagine Dragons? I think it might be bugged, but that is really funny to me. It looks like soup. Like, wanna go? Does it show anything underwater? Underwater, it looks really pretty. I guess it's just green sludge. It reminds me of the green sludge you get in, like, Half-Life 1. When you're jumping for the radiation. Alright. Go, my son. Alright. Oh, shit. Okay. First things first. Quick save. And then second things second. Let's poison that and elixir. Alright. Hey, motherfucker! Are you ready to tussle? Oh, wait. Oh, my god. Okay, hold on. Alright, it does damage, but I do damage too. Oh, fuck. There's two of them. Okay. Come on. Hit something! Come on, Jasper! Oh, shit! Okay. Heal plentifully! Come on. No. That's not where I wanted you to hit. That's not. What is he hitting? What are you hitting, bro? Okay, run around. Bring it around town. Oh my god. Okay, come on. Stop. Oh my god. I know my health is low. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's right. It's not like a steady poison. That's why my first attack did so much damage. Okay, let's get this one so he can be gone. Almost. No, come on. Here. All right. Run around. Ring him around the rosy. Come on. Okay, this one's going over here. Go for this one. Don't. No. I meant the target, not hit. Jasper, that's not. I clicked one. Oh my god. Okay. We're gonna need to try this again. Okay, he's good. Well, actually, hold on. With our limited knowledge of magic, we will. Wait, hold on. Nope. Okay, so I'm glad we quick saved, right? Here's the thing. If he didn't miss every fucking attack, I think we would have been okay. But I haven't played a melee character in, a while. We're gonna actually just, what? Where am I? Where is this? Wait, hold on. Where the fuck am I? Hello? Let me change into that helmet, I guess. What? Huh? What the fuck is this? I can talk to the mud crab? Let me treat you. Do you want some bread? I just fed a mud crab. Oh, look at him eating. Aw. Thank you, mud crab friend. Hey, do you know what's going on over here? You seem unfamiliar. Are you new in town? Am I new in town? Is this Project AH? I have no idea. Have you settled permanently?
We've no choice. My husband, Sareeran,
I have no idea where the fuck we are.
We await Councillor Verendas to allow us to own our own home.
What made you leave Morrowind?
It's not the most pleasant place to live, but we've always wanted to try something new.
Is someone against you staying at Sadrith Kagran?
Not exactly, but it seems to me Marissa Verendas is avoiding
I don't know how we got here. I don't. What?
When we can expect to receive the contract.
I'm genuinely dumbfounded. I'll talk to her, sure.
We will be very grateful.
Well, this is a turn. Oh shit. You know what? We're gonna put the Riz on her. I like the idea because this dialogue makes no sense in our fucking situation. But I like the idea. He's like, are you new in town? It's like, buddy, you are also new in town.
Me? Oh, sure. Sorry, but I've got errands to run. Have a nice day.
God damn. Okay. Oh fuck. What? Noir? Isn't that like a bad word in Dark Elf? Noir? Or did I read that somewhere? The internet tells lies all the time. It looks very pretty. It's a very cool environment. I'm just still dumbfounded on how the fuck me not killing an ice wraith puts me here.
Need something?
How long have you lived here?
Since my husband dragged me on an expedition with those Till
You've got
bunny
massive
slippers.
tits.
Though, it is a pleasure living here now.
Okay, well, that's nice.
Farewell.
Wait, who are you?
Speak quickly.
Not you. Who are you?
Bye. Hope we won't meet again.
Something?
You look cool as hell. The fuck? Alright, well. Can I leave? This looks very pretty. But, like, how do I needed to join the Stormcloaks? Well, let's explore a little bit longer before we commit. Mycelium. So I guess that's like their mine? Did I get quests from here? Consult Marissa Verendas about the you know what? Sure. Why the fuck not? Hey. I'm down for a bureaucracy side quest, I think. Ooh, an inn. Okay, maybe we can get some bitches over here.
Hi.
Not you. Okay. Yeah, let's look at the map once we... Damn. Okay, that's... I mean, I guess it makes sense how we ended up here. Now, because I think we were around right over here, so... I guess that is technically the nearest location. Okay. Alright, well, we'll fuck with it. We'll roll with it. Chitin and Flynn. Okay, let's see. What is that? Cool looking tavern. Like, that's the thing is, everything looks really cool. Hey. Oh, okay. Where is she? Oh, she's not in here. Okay, well, I'll still poke around a little bit. Why are there cages in the kitchen? That don't seem right. There's a little bar down here. Hi, Game Sniper! Welcome in, gamer! What? How did I get here? Shein? Like the clothes store? What the fuck? It looks so cool, but I'm still just... What the fuck? Okay, alright, well... Do we get involved in the, you know, politics of a place I've never been before? Yeah, I guess so. Fuck it. We're here. Like, when in Rome, right? Okay. I can't get over the little, like, they're so cute. Oh, they're so cute. I love the little mud crabs. I like that you can feed the mud crabs. That's so cute. They're my little friends. But it's very colorful, especially compared to, like, I feel like you don't really see this color palette around Skyrim. I don't know. Is it confirmed we're getting a Morrowind remaster, or is it Oblivion that's getting a remaster? I think it's Oblivion. Because I remember there's people are talking about that with like the Skyblivion team and stuff like that. All right, let's see. I want one as a pet. Same. I think they'd be really cute. They remind me of like the head crabs from Half-Life 2. All right, let me take another sippy. Okay. Let's see. Hello. Tizai. What's all this stuff? Oh, it's not mine. I don't know why, but I was gonna be like, can I take it? Wait, can I play chess? Something must be missing on this board. Oh, like the pieces? Wait, can I play chess? This looks very cool, though. I want to play chess. Oh, there's like a whole shebang happening right now. Hey.
You are distracting me from a particularly important mind process.
Where are we?
Because we keep our existence a secret.
Oh.
The special Telvanni magic.
Something about him accidentally ending up in a secret town is so fucking funny. Oh! Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. It's slavery. God damn it, Evie. Okay, where are their cages? God, I broke my model with how dumb I am. Okay. Why do you do that? Why are you the way that you are?
Slavery is an integral part of the Demeri culture. We sell Enwas to Morrowind.
Enwas? That's how you say it? It's not Noise? Enwas? Okay. Are you the queen?
A queen? No, silly. I'm the consul, which makes me an authorized representative of House Telvanni here in Skyrim. And House Telvanni is one of the great houses of Morrowind.
God. This stream's a fucking mess.
Someday, Cedrith Kegran will become the center of the revival of our greatness.
Okay, anyway, I know you're, like, doing something here, but, Zerona has requested me to give you a reminder of their housing issue.
Does the girl really think I have a hard time in remembering? She can't be so stupid as to not suss that something's come up.
Yeah, this is...
Thus, if they have attracted you, the situation may resolve on its own. Rest assured, I will handle their situation soon. Speak with Evos Mills. He will deal with the formalities and help them register as official members of House Telvanni.
Okay.
In the council chambers of the Morag Tong Agency.
The Morag Tong? Oh, shit. Okay. Okay.
I'll get back to work.
Are you Evos Mills? I'm a little afraid.
This one needs something.
Hi, Marissa. I like to imagine he's like has his like fingers there. He's like, hi, Marissa Berenda's directed me towards you about the Rice family.
So this is whom she's chosen.
Yeah.
That changes things.
Oh.
Do you know who the Morag Tong are?
No.
We are mercenaries, assassins, if you like.
Oh, that's
In order
cool.
to execute the Oris has arrived. Zerona Oris is accused of murdering Zendu Luin, the daughter of an influential family of House Redoran. I don't know how Zerona's husband is involved. He might be
All I know about the like great houses in Morrowind is from Elder Scrolls Online. So I don't know a ton about, you know, the Dark Elf houses.
You'll get paid double. Deal?
Okay. Alright.
Deal. Make it clean.
You can't guarantee that. Well, I guess I'm a murderer now, so that's cool. Okay, let's see. How do I find evidence of Zerona's involvement with Zendu's death? I mean... oh my gosh. Where would I even look? I have no idea where the hell I am. Let's just kind of explore for a little bit, I guess. It's really dusty in here. Those doors are cool. Guess we can look for notes. When is the next auction? This last N1 was a weakling and I need help. Okay, well, that's not helpful to me. Another letter. Marisa, what are your thoughts on Shanaf's newest Noir? This one isn't so simple. There's power in his eyes. I feel the strength in him. No. That's what I'm thinking. Is like, can I find like a letter? Also, the bright, like, the red light's really cool. Because that was... Here we go. Letter? Oh. Dear Marissa, we expect your decision after more than a few months and cannot understand in any way what could cause such a long wait. With the hope of an answer, the Rice family. Okay, this could mean something. Hi, Lurlink! Welcome in, gamer. I was on a quest to fuck every wench, and then I died, and then I accidentally got sent to a hidden city. And now I'm just beefing with everyone, I guess. That's the letter I already read. I'm trying to see, pretty much, I need to find evidence on someone if they were involved in a murder. So I'm looking around, I'm just rummaging through people's stuff. Noah from the last auction behaved excessively sternly. Okay. Let's see. What about this one? Average TV stream experience. Wait, here we go. Hold on. Marissa, I cannot work with this madman any longer. Shanath is going crazy and is on the verge of doing something irreparable. Henceforth, the passage to the planetarium is closed. Until you convince Shanath, no one will get inside. Okay. Not exactly what we need. Here we go. Note. Marissa, I finally completed the writing of the second volume of the history of Sajith Kagran. No. Sealed spells. Wait, those are kind of cool, though. Wish I could see a little bit better. I think I've read all the letters in here. But that's my thought, is just, like, can we find a letter or something? Something that proves her involvement, you know what I mean? Oh, shit. We don't have any lockpicks, so we can't search in there, which is annoying. I'll look around a little bit more. But if I can't find anything, then I might just start blasting. Because in character, that's what he would do. He'd be like, well, I'll try to look for evidence. No evidence? Okay. Bing bang. How you doing, buddy? Oh, okay.
You, the one whom the prophecy
The what
speaks
now?
of. It is you. Come hither, chosen one. I must lay my eyes on you.
Hi. I'm listening. I don't remember being the chosen one.
I am Yargal Groshak, a member of an ancient Orcish cult. By
Cool,
the name
okay.
Of Orsinium Vera. For the longest time, we, the voices of Orsinium, have trekked throughout Tamriel in search of support for our cause. A moment is all I ask.
What do you do?
The history of our cult dates as far back
Yeah,
as
Jasper's
our
just getting
race
involved in all kinds of shit. Cause Jasper's a red guard. Joins the Stormcloaks, joins an Orcish cult, like, he gets around, you know? He's just a friendly guy. Oh my god.
But this humiliation wasn't enough for her. She wanted to make us accept our new state. She made a vile copy of Trinamac's former glory and turned it against us to enthrall and humiliate our people. Alas, many
Reminds me of this one mod that if you sleep in a specific bed, you would be teleported into a Mario world. Yeah, I don't know how the fuck I got here. Hi, Blaze! Welcome in! Yeah, I was on a quest to fuck as many wenches as I could. I died to an ice wraith, and now I'm in a secret city. I don't know how I fucking got here. I just appeared here, and I was like, okay. Why now?
For centuries, we lived in hope of justice. That time will come when we will find a way to make everything right again. One leader
I wonder what mod it is? I have no idea, actually. I do not know.
Macro had a divine revelation.
He's saying so much, but nothing at all at the same time. Project AHO. Okay, that's what Morgan was saying earlier, so that makes sense. Yeah, I have never heard of this one. Is this the same mod list you've been using? Yes, so even though we're on a different playthrough, and we're not abandoning our old playthrough by any means, I just wanted to play Skyrim today, and I was like, you know what? Wench Wednesday, fuck it. It's still the same load order and everything. Jasper's so stupid. He'd just be like, so what do you need me to do?
Such enthusiasm can only be envied. What a pity that all this was no more than a great diversion.
Oh no! What?
But be careful.
I got smashed with a heavy object on the head! God.
Wake up, you scum! You're as obedient as a dog with these amulets around your neck.
So, new side quest from our earlier side quest. I have now been sold into slavery.
Has their tongue cut out, lest they ask one too many questions.
I...
Now Now get out of the cage and follow me. Take your places on the couch.
Hey, I leveled up though.
Don't make a sound.
Okay. Can I go? Oh, it's walking for me. Oh shit. I've been kind of looking for a new mod list and stuff ever since my last interesting Skyrim modding experience. I still really love immersive and epic. Even though I think you're with all mods right now, you're gonna have to downgrade to an older version of Skyrim. Don't update your Skyrim. I've been playing the same mod list for over a year and I still keep finding shit. So I cannot recommend it enough, truly. I can only assume this is happening here and not at Agnes Mill or whatever because of another mod in the list. Yeah, I'm just like, damn. Okay. This is wild.
These lizards look lifeless. Come closer, closer. Take a gander at our latest merch.
Marissa, don't forget about the red aura.
There's so many people talking.
Off the auction. For peculiar pick, I present lot number 1. A vampire.
Oh.
Begin the bid at 500
How do I...
septos.
Oh, God.
6.
Am I just fucked? Markarth prison all over again. Yeah. Hey, why do all my playthroughs end up with me getting thrown in jail or something? Because this is how Vanya's playthrough started too. With Vanya, we not with this, but with Vanya, we immediately got imprisoned in Cinnamine. Yeah, no, not yay. Don't clap for that. No.
A young female Argonian, freshly plucked from the Windtown docks. Bid begins at 450 gold.
800 septims.
Oh, damn.
Oh, that's quite a bid from Sergio Verendes. 800.
I'm just kind of keeping my mouth shut because I'm like, I don't even know what to say to this, bro. I'm like,
1,100.
damn. Damn. Okay.
1,100 septos.
When is it my turn? Question mark? Like, I don't know what to say. Follow me in questline, you will get your agency, whatever stuff they took from you back eventually. This is our first stream with this character. I just wanted to join the Stormcloaks. I just wanted to join the Stormcloaks, and I got my ass beat by some ice raids, and now I'm here. Okay.
Middle-aged lizard, harvested from the woods of Falkreath. Starting bid at 500 septims. Surely this item piques the interest of one of you fine folk. No offers for
Aw.
such a shining old specimen.
I mean,
A shame. Please
I guess that's
remove
a good thing, then?
from the auction.
Does she get to go?
It's going to make a good purse.
Oh, they're going to kill her. Oh. Ah.
Lot number 4, a Redgar.
That's me.
Ranged creature. Great for many physical tasks. They seem to hardly tire.
Yeah.
100 septims.
Only 300?
500.
Yeah, keep it coming.
650 septums.
Keep it coming.
700.
Keep it coming.
1,000 septums.
I should not be rooting. What? Hold on.
2,000 septums.
Hold on.
Maybe now.
I was just kind of offended they put me at that low.
Who's more?
I'm a big boy.
This is your last chance. Sold. Master Selfree. Lot number 4 is yours.
You will serve me well, Enwa.
Okay. Wait, what? Okay. What just happened to my brain? Well, damn. Unfortunately, you now get to deal with Sheagor's tightest claim in the whole city. God damn it.
I see you are awake.
Good morning.
Great. We have time for.
How am I gonna get wenches now?
I'm listening.
What happened?
You were sold at the slave market. Do you not recall, Sweat? You are my property now. A nameless Enwa without past.
I should have left when I had the chance. There was part of me that was like, maybe we could just leave, you know? And then I was like, no, we'll check it out. No, we'll check it out. It's fine. Look where that got me. Look where curiosity got me. You can't force me to do anything.
Willingly or unwillingly, you have not the choice.
What?
That amulet
Wait, what?
around your neck isn't just a pretty trinket. It blocks your will, restrains your mind, suppresses your emotions. An ideal tool at the hands of a slaver.
What do I do now?
Have I answered all of your questions?
I have more questions.
I'm listening.
Who are you? Do you even know who I am?
No idea. Do pray tell. On second thought, you'd rather not.
Oh, good luck, Yora. I know that can be tricky. Godspeed, gamer.
You will not utter a word of your past.
Who are you?
Magister of House Telvanni, renowned scholar, author of a myriad of works on ritual semantics.
Hi, Crayons! Welcome in! I accidentally got in a bit of a pickle. You released me immediately. I don't want to be here.
Silence, you sweat! You are the cost of 2,000 septims.
Why does this always happen to me?
With me, or I'll have you scrub my piss pot.
Oh, okay. Where's that fucking orc? I got beef with him.
His name is Yargol Groshak, or Shaglak. Not that damn orc.
He's throwing out the bad words. Yeah, I don't even know what the bad words are. I don't even know what they mean. He said they would cut out our tongues.
Yes, they did cut.
Oh, that's why they didn't talk.
All but yours. I had no need for a typical Enwa. Only good for scut work and
I'm glad Cut stream. Congrats on full-time content, singing, teaching. Oh, thank you, Crayons! I really appreciate that. I have been so much happier this month of January. I have been so much more relaxed, and it's been a wild ride so far. I'm having a lot of fun planning for Offkai and other stuff with the studio. Dark Elf calling. Oh. So, for those who just joined, I tried to join the Stormcloaks. I got killed by ice wraiths. I somehow ended up in a secret forbidden city, and I just started walking around and talking to people. Bing, bang, bong, someone knocks me over the head, and now I'm enslaved to this guy. So, but I did get 4 wenches before that, though, so that's gotta count for something. So, it's been a day. It's been a fucking day.
Cage, I suppose. It's your home from now on. For a broader perspective, you are in Sadrith Kegra.
I'm not gonna get any wenches anymore. I mean, okay, that's that's our motivation to get out, is we need to get back to our wenches. We were at like 3 wenches per hour, bro, and now, yeah. Sadrith, what now?
Read. If you cannot, take this one as well and you'll learn.
Well, I guess I'm gonna learn how to read ABCs. It says, I'll show it to you later. It says ABCs for barbarians. Well, okay. Now what?
There are a few rules you must follow before I set you free. From now on, Enwa, you are forbidden to leave Sadrith Kegra until you get your freedom.
How do I do that?
You can go wherever and do whatever.
Oh, so I can still get wenches? Oh, okay.
Within the settlement.
Fuck yeah.
You are not allowed to talk about your past.
That's fine.
If you hold the desire to end someone, you will find yourself incapable. You will tell me nothing but the truth. This doesn't apply to others.
So I can't lie to him, but I can lie to other people.
That's it, I think. Your amulet is now attuned and won't let you get loose. Get out of your cage and go take a look around.
Okay.
To walk around the city, chit-chat with a local riffraff. But don't loiter too long. You have work to do.
Alrighty, so I've completed a few quests. I do have a level up, so I'll take that at least. We're still very low on stamina. I'm gonna put another point. I don't have my armor right now, so I may as well just put another point in one-handed, I guess. But yeah, we got some books now. ABCs for barbarians. Chat, are we gonna learn how to read together? I think we're gonna learn how to read together. Actually, I do need to run an ad break so it doesn't jump scare me with one. So I'm gonna run a 1-minute ad break, and then we're gonna learn how to read. Yippee! All right, I will see you guys in 1 minute. BRB. Boop. And And then where's my other button? Where's my other button? Boop. There we go. All right. BRB. Are we back? Hello? Hello? I would like to get out of slavery, please. I would enjoy that. Very much so. Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, first, before we do anything else, chat, let's learn how to read. Okay? We're learning how to read as soon as the game comes up. Okay. ABCs for barbarians. A is for Atronach. I never know if I'm saying that right. I always want to say Atronach, but Atronach, I don't know. B is for Bungler's Bane. C is for Comberry. That's it. There's no other. There's no. Wait, look. Speed. I didn't know you could do that. Speed. You spin my head right round like a record playing right round. So I guess when they said ABCs, they meant it because it's literally just A, B, and C. And they gave me the Great Houses of Morrowind. Oh, it increased my speech skill. Well, we know how to read 3 letters. That's better than nothing, I guess. Let's see. Pitchfork. This could be useful. Could be a weapon. Is this like? Will they know if I steal? Is it like Clockwork, you know, where you physically can't get away with crime no matter how hard you try? It's like omnipotent. Hey bro, how you doing? Right, sorry, my bad. Let me see. Does it Amulet of Suppression? Oh, I probably shouldn't have equipped that. Because it says it's not equipped right now. But I'm taking, I guess, whatever I can. Do I have feet or boots? Yeah, let's take the boots instead of the foot wraps, at least. It should be a little bit nicer than what we have right now. Alright, I guess we'll head out. I still need to kill Zerona, but now I can't, so, because I'm imprisoned, I guess. Sphere. I can take that sphere, I guess. Down for a free sphere. Little token, I guess. Staff of Courage? Sure. Okay. I'll take whatever I can that's, like, useful, you know? Alright. So I can't kill. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Oh! Tina! Down. Bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum bum. Bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Welcome in, gamers! Hello! My name is ZB Games. I love wenches, Skyrim. And a lot of things have happened this stream. Welcome in. If Amon could shout out Kina, I would really appreciate it. Well, so here's what happened. For everyone who's joining, thank you so much for the raid, Kina, though. I really appreciate it. What did you play? I feel like I have to give some explanation to what happened. Because, well, okay, this is what happened. Essentially what happened was I tried to join the Stormcloaks, and then I had to go kill an ice wraith to prove myself to the Stormcloaks. And then I got my ass beat. I woke up on this secret city, and then I didn't know where I was, so I talked to a guy, and then the guy beat me over the head, and then I got sold into slavery. So it's been a very eventful 2 hours. This whole stream started just because I wanted to fuck wenches. And yeah. I don't know how. I don't know why this shit always happens to me. You're building a bathhouse in Minecraft? Oh, that's super cute. I still haven't watched Steven Universe, and I don't know if I'm going to at this point, but I do really like some of the music from it. But I'm glad you had a peaceful stream, because I have not. So I still need to murder this person, but apparently because of my like amulet thing, I'm not allowed to do that. So I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. Because, like, my whole quest right now is kill somebody. Like, and they said I could roam free. Should I talk to the guy that bought me, I guess? I feel so, like, icky, like, talking about this. But I'm like, what the fuck do I say? Hi.
Need something?
Any work for me?
No job, just a little plea.
Okay.
Of late, there have been some alarming noises coming from near our home. Sounds like someone or something has settled down under and is trying to get out. Go to Mr.
Guess it's just
Stewart
gonna be a
and
lot of
find out
fetch
what's
quests
happened.
then. Shit. Okay.
Oh, how sweet. Here, eat this apple.
Yes, ma'am. The fuck? Yes, ma'am. I'll eat the apple. Okay. We'll talk to Marissa, I guess. Again, guess if you want wenches, he was sent to horny jail. I guess I'm getting what I deserved. I still got 4 wenches before they got me, though. I'll take that. You know, what about you?
What do you want?
Okay. No. Like, can I still get wenches? Like, they said I couldn't kill people. They didn't say anything about getting wenches. So, like, that's, I don't know. We gotta figure it out. You know, we gotta see what's going on. So, I don't know they said that I can get my freedom. I don't know how the fuck I'm supposed to do that. I'm gonna be honest with you. This was the room. Yeah, okay, this is where we went originally. Okay, maybe, do they have my stuff? Am I ever gonna get my stuff back? I want my stuff back. I had good armor. I had orcish armor, dude. Hey.
Hi.
Cunt. When will I be released?
Set you free. Such arrogance. You are the property of Master Selthry now, and you are to carry out his orders.
Okay. So Manny Andevel was complaining about some noises under her house.
Is that so? Apparently Slyboots is up again. Must be hungry, the poor creature. Either feed him to shut him up, or just kill him.
Okay.
My hand won't rise to that, but he causes too much inconvenience. Take a key from the catacombs beneath.
Can I have a weapon to kill him? Although apparently I'm not supposed to kill him, so I don't know. Who's Slyboots?
A Sheneth Seldry experiment gone wrong.
What?
He once brought a live Spriggan into town, but a month later something escaped him. A spider, a Spriggan, or some thrall. Or something in between.
Yay! Body horror! Yippee!
It can only live off fresh meat.
Well, I can't feed it. Well, okay, actually, it can only live off fresh meat, so the apple I had wasn't good.
No, the thing looks like the product of a Draugr and Droog's passionate lovemaking.
What?
Where let go, it inhabits the sewers. Better if it left town.
Okay, well, I have my Staff of Courage, but I don't think that's gonna help me. Am I just gonna have to, like, punch it to death with my fists? Because I can't, there's no weapons. And I'm not even supposed to, well, Slyboots isn't a person, so maybe that's okay. That's what I gotta figure out, is how to get a weapon. Can I have this little statue? Yay, sphere. Okay. At least I have some sort of joy in my life. Hi.
Good morning.
What do you do?
Mrs. Verendas and I represent the interests of House Telvanni here in Skyrim, even despite our house not being as powerful as it were in the past. In general, I have little work, so I spend time in my own research.
Okay. Are there any additional details?
About the research, I'm working on deciphering the records left by my great-great-grandfather. Most magicians practice proven spells, studying their ancient tomes or by seeking a teacher.
Okay.
My ancestor, Niden Milo, crafted his own spells, like an artist who paints his own picture. Niden kept
He's
the
really
spells
giving us
in
the
an
full
expensive
lore
jar.
dump, huh?
Now, I'm very close to uncover the secrets of some of the most powerful forms of magic. Care to be my assistant?
Oh, sure. Why not?
With you, our research will speed up.
I don't want to do magic, but like, if it's something that gives me like, well, no, we have flames, I think, because we didn't do create your own backstory.
If I can recover the right formula, I will be able to learn this magic and teach you. I have some
Sure, I
samples
guess.
Which need testing. Here is the first scroll. Please try them out when you are able.
Okay, so spell scroll. So what? It's just something. Okay, well maybe we can go find the thing we're supposed to kill, and maybe we can try using it on that. That might work. I don't know. It's gonna be a while. Something about accidentally starting a major quest mod is still really funny to me. I'm gonna be real with you. Well, I guess we'll go to the catacombs. Because again, I don't know if we can do the other quest. What is that? Do you hear that? What is that pulsing noise?
Good afternoon.
Oh, hey.
Well, hello.
Oh, that's the guy I'm supposed to kill. The Morag Tong ordered me to kill you.
Well, time is up. It's all my fault. I failed to look after the girl when it was my duty to protect her from danger. I'm sure you were ordered to kill my wife, Zerona, but I plead you take me and spare her. This is all my fault. It was me who let the baby drink poisoned milk.
What?
It was my duty to test it. Don't kill my
I didn't know
wife,
that's
I
what
beg of you.
happened.
love
I thought
her
there was
more
just
than life
beef, but you
itself.
killed a baby? Actually, I'm rubbing my little hands together. I would rather help you leave Sadrith Kagran, so I can help myself leave Sadrith Kagran.
Will you help us? I'll never forget it. We need to cross the border and bargain with the smugglers, but we've almost no coin left. A mere 500 septims.
500 septims? Do I have 500? Did they?
Please help us. Don't stall.
I guess I don't have 500 septims yet. I have 0 gold. Okay, they took all my money.
Till next time.
So, if we can make up 500 gold, then maybe we can get out of here with him. Hi, Boston. I meant to kill people, and then I accidentally got sold into slavery. It's... I got 4 wenches, ate shit doing my Stormcloak quest, and then I got hit over the head, and... Well, I have the spell scroll, at least. I have to kill this fucked up thing. That's literally how they described it to me. They're like, kill this fucked up thing. And I was like, okay. Alright. But welcome in, Boston. This is something. It's very... Oh. Oh my god! I don't like that! Oh, I do not. That is horrifying. Hey. It's not attacking me. Hey. What's up? Let me feed you. Oh, I have horse meat? Oh, okay. Come with... Actually, come with me. Will you kill for me? Wait. Hold on. How long does it take to get your stuff back? I don't know. Is he gonna follow me? It doesn't look like he's following me. Add 1 to the wench counter. No! Let me... I get to trade some things with you. Wait, what if I give him my amulet? No! Okay. I was about to say, I'm like, ooh. Oh my god, look at you. Yeah, that is terrifying. Holy fuck. Okay. Cause like, why isn't he coming with me? Cause that was my thought. Can I bring him out and have him like, can I sick him on people? Should I do several quests in the mod's main story? All of them involve putting up with Shanath's orders. Oh boy. We're so much for Wench Wednesday, I guess. Alright. Yeah, because he's not coming with me. Is there anything else in here? Oh, wait. Wooden sword. Okay, that's something. Better than nothing. That's something. Okay. Like, there's no way he's coming with me, right? Okay, guess not.
Need something?
Why did you haggle for me at the market?
because I'm in need of an Enwar to work my forge. My son, Marino, has gone completely out of hand.
Who might purchase weapons from you?
Mercenaries, Morrowind Redoran, Soulstorm Redoran. I guess your brain already has enough information to wrap around.
Are you for the Stormcloaks or the lead? He probably doesn't give a shit.
I am for my family first and foremost.
Yeah. It feels kind of silly to ask him that question, but Jasper probably would, honestly. You're a smith though, right?
How dare you? I'm the queen. Your queen is tired of your silly questions.
Okay.
Farewell.
Hey, weirdo. Okay. I guess we should go back to Shanath. Yeah, let's go see if we can find him and talk to him and see what's up there. Because I'm wondering if that, like, getting the 500 gold is a way out of here. I guess we should try using the scroll, though. I'll use it in public. It could be funny. What? Why do I keep getting isekai'd? Why do I keep getting isekai'd? Why does this keep happening to me? God. I don't like that. I do not like that noise. Wait, that was the noise we heard earlier. What is going on? Wait, this wasn't open before. Huh? Oh. Interesting. Okay. What's going on there? Yeah, let's go back to him and see what's up, because that was weird. Yeah, there's that sound again. Is it coming from these things? Yeah, it's these things. The little brain squigglies. The brain jellyfish. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, it sounds like I'm doing side quests right now, so I'll probably have to go and talk to Shanath to progress the main story quest line, but we'll see. I'm kind of just dicking around here, right? And there is part of me that's looking at this like, well, we're going to have to do this for Vanya anyway, because I did see a lot of legacy artifacts in here. So at least I'll, like, kind of know what to do, you know? Hey.
What do you want?
He gave me a task, but I forgot what it was. Hey.
This one needs something?
Your scroll didn't work as intended.
Failure? Well, what did you see?
I saw Sadra Kagran, but it was, fucked.
Oh, we are ever so close. Perhaps you saw the past, or perhaps the future. You grasped the thread of time by your palms, and it whisked you off. Here's a new scroll. I'm sure this will be the one.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
Good day.
Let's, we'll just do this right here. Alright. Yippee! Whoa! Or a Tong agency. Wait, what the hell?
Gaslight.
Oh my god.
Girl
Catch Anita, thank you so much for the follow. I just fell on the fucking ground. Welcome to the stream, you know, I guess I can keep Girl Boss. What was that?
Yeah?
That last scroll just paralyzed me.
Really? Interesting.
I like how one hand is open and my other hand is just squared up, ready to punch the shit out of him.
Witnesses of entire epochs, countless wars and cataclysms. I believe I have it.
Are you sure?
Try this scroll.
I don't want to get fucking isekai'd again. That'll be like the third time we've been isekai'd today. If that keeps happening to me. Okay, come on. That didn't do anything. Oh, it was like slow for a second.
This better be good.
I think we did it. Everything like stopped.
Iden Milo truly was an astonishing mage. It was with the help of this magic that he, living in Molag Mer, was able to steal ebony from Caldera, right under the miners' noses. We were able to only scratch the surface of the knowledge brought to us by Niden Milo in his diaries. Thank you for your help.
You're welcome. Are you gonna give me anything? Oh, I got a spell tome for it at least. Time break.
I'll take my...
I mean, I guess that'll be useful. Gives you the feeling that your mind has transcended the fabric of reality itself, helping you to gather your thoughts. Okay. If I had a nickel for every time I'm an isekai, I would have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that I have it twice. Okay, what else do I gotta do? We still gotta talk to Marisa. Actually, yeah, isn't that who's over here? Hold on. Hey, about Sly Boots. That was fucked up.
Speak.
Sly Boots will not bother you again.
I am grateful for your assistance. I will go inform the Andevels personally.
There we go, 150 gold. So maybe if we get 500 gold, we'll be able to smuggle. What? Jesus Christ! He hadn't been following me, and then you just appeared. Oh my God, that scared the shit out of me. Thank you, Sly Boots. There you go. Okay. Thank you, Sly Boots. Very cool. That was something. Okay, well. Yeah, bring this back to my master. Maybe that'll convince him that I'm not worth the time and to just let me go. Alright, let's see. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. Council Hall, Andevel. Let me see. Sajid Kagan, Master Selthus house. Okay, so we actually have to turn around. Yeah, that was horrifying. That was a little scary.
Don't waste.
Oh, isn't that my master? My confidant. We are not on the same side. That is a fucking lie. You got anything for me to do?
You don't seem to be in a hurry, Enwa. Mostly pick up my stuff from Baron the Smith. In the case you stumble across to inspect this project. There's a coin purse to pay for the job.
To pay for it? I'm wondering. I'm still not sure about the, like, money thing. Like, how much money did he give me? Because I wasn't looking. Hold up. He didn't give me enough. Is it just, like, an item that says coin purse or something? Yeah, okay. Shit. Alright, well, let's go to the blacksmith, I guess, is our first call to action. Let me check something real quick. Okay. Let me see. So... let's see. It's probably over here. There we go. Okay. It's not this one, right? Oh, no, it is over here. Baron! I need the staff. I need your staff. Because that's the thing. Can I still, like, get down and dirty even though I'm, like, in a predicament?
This one needs something.
I'm here to grab the staff.
Here's your order. Now give me the money and piss off to your master.
Okay. Does this not frighten you? Are you not afraid? Because this is my friend. You should be nice to me because this is my friend. And my friend is very scary. Like, I think that's gotta count for something, you know? Alright, let's see. We'll head over here. And then... I guess we're just an errand boy for the start of this.
If you're looking for
I got your staff.
I was thinking of buying a new end wall already.
Jesus.
Just hand me the staff. I will need it shortly.
Okay. Now what?
Cleaning. Remember that vampire
I
worked alongside you? Turned out feeble.
Oh.
Kicked the bucket after the third experiment.
Ow.
I am so disappointed.
Jesus.
Run to Tamina Elenil, the alchemist. Get Chorus acid from her.
Chorus acid. The way he said it was like kind of scratch my brain.
You will fill it with acid and dissolve that fetcher's corpse in it.
Okay.
What?
What?
Don't give me that look. Get down to her.
Alright. No corpse, no case. Okay. Let's see that.
I'll take my leave.
Alright, where is... okay, I guess it's right over here. So that makes things easy, at least. I would like to buy some acid. Vanya would love that summon. That's the thing is, there's part of me that's like, I don't know, could I have escaped once I got down here? Or was I just fucked?
Well, hello.
Like, did I do a stupid or was I just fucked once I got here? There is part of me that was like, maybe I should have just, like, reloaded my save, but fuck me for being curious, I guess. I need acid.
Has this hapless scholar murdered someone again?
Yeah.
And now he's trying to cover up the traces.
Yeah. Do you know anything about it?
Everyone in Sadrith Kegran knows this. It's ridiculous how
And everyone's just cool with him murdering people? Like, we're just cool with that?
2 or 3 NWA at every auction.
Oh, Gamer! Thank you so much for the raid! Welcome in, Gamer! Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Welcome in, Yume! What did you stream? You came in at just the right time. I'm about to dissolve a dead body in acid! Yippee! So, we're in a weird predicament. Okay, this is, okay, so basically I started a new character and the joke was I want to fuck as many wenches as possible because I'll think it'd be funny, right? My normal save that's been ongoing for a while is like a Legacy of the Dragonborn mod save, so it's like a completionist run, right? So, but I was like, okay, let's do a regular save and we can, like, I don't know, fucking fuck everyone. Fuck every wench I see. It'll be funny. So I joined the Stormcloaks, and then I joined the Stormcloaks. I tried to kill an ice wraith. I ate shit and died. I ended up in a forbidden city, and I accidentally got sold into slavery. And then I found this guy named Sly Boots who looks really fucked up. Here, come here, Sly Boots. Show yourself to everybody. Come on. He's a little shy. He's a little shy, but there you go. This is my friend now. So it's been a stream. I'm trying to get out of slavery so I can go back to fucking bitches. And I have to do a bunch of quests. But this sounds like a normal Skyrim mod. So the mod that's being featured right now is Project AHO. Or Aho, I don't fucking know how to say it. And it's basically, it goes into a lot of like the, you know, noble houses in Morrowind, House Talvani, House Redoran, stuff like that. And they're a secret kind of underground city, on the outskirts of Skyrim. So I died like here, and instead of being normal, and because I have the mod that gives you like a second chance at life when you die, you teleport somewhere else with like your stuff. Instead of being normal, and putting me back in Winterhold, they sent me over here, which is, I just wanted to be a Stormcloak. He's not even joining the Stormcloaks for a good reason. He just likes the color blue. Okay? He just likes the color blue and wanted to yell for Skyrim! Like, he doesn't know what the fuck's going on. He's stupid, okay? So there's a lot happening. But welcome in! Welcome in, Raiders. How was your stream, though? What did you play, bestie? Where do I fucking go? Yeah, where's the... I need to go back to my master's house, I guess. Yeah, so that's, like, over here. And we will go and dissolve a dead body in acid. Because apparently the guy that owns me keeps buying slaves and killing them in magical experiments, which, gonna be real, does not make me feel great for my prospects. So I've been tasked with dissolving the dead body in acid. Hi, Grizzly, welcome in, gamer. What mods you got going? If you type !modless, it'll give you a link to the one I use. I use the mod pack Immersive and Epic. I really, really like it a lot. I've been using it for like a year. And I'm still finding new stuff, like this mod. So this is the mod, Project AHO, but I'm using the mod list, Immersive and Epic. We played Uncharted. Oh, hell yeah. You got your shit rocked? Hell yeah. But, yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening. But I'm glad you had a fun stream. That's awesome, gamer. I have never played Uncharted, and I'm not sure if I'd vibe with it.
Boss.
Grizzly, thank you so much for the follow, gamer. I appreciate it. You're not Gaslight Geeky Girl Boss. Okay, so I gotta head in this direction, I guess. Did I pass it? Yeah, I guess it's over here. Did I really fucking pass it? Okay. All right, well, let's go dissolve this dead body, I guess. Which, again, does not make me feel great, but that's okay. So where do I get the dead body? Where's the dead body? Wait, what? Oh, Songs of Skyrim. Okay, that's nice. Yeah, that human flesh. Okay, I'll take that. Could be, it'll pay dividends in the sequel. Ow!
It's time for you to go.
What?
Would you please leave now?
But I thought you want me to...
You're not welcome here. Go. What?
Don't you want me to dissolve the dead body? I'll take his amulet. You never know if it could be useful. Here, there we go. Alright, drop the body into the barrel. Alright, come here. Ooh, get in there, buddy. Get in there. Okay, there you go. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, I did that. Oh, he's got the cloves of garlic there. Jesus Christ.
Got something to say?
I finished the job.
You didn't spill the acid, I hope?
No.
If you did, you'll have to scour it. I will deal with the barrel myself.
Okay.
Keep up the good work, and you won't have to buy acid for yourself.
Yay?
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Anything else?
Yes, the reserves of my tea have come to an unfortunate end. It's time to brew some new tea.
You might as well just give me a fucking maid outfit at this rate. Yeah, what kind of tea do you want?
You've been in the city for all this time and still don't know what tea your master likes.
Are you an Earl Grey bitch or a chai tea bitch?
Outrageous.
You never said. You did the.
In that barrel, along with the fire. Get your lazy ass over to Tamina. She'll give you the recipe.
I wish I could swing at him. What happens if I try to like break my amulet though? I kind of want to see what happens.
Some bottles with it.
You want 10 bottles of tea? How much tea are you drinking, bro? Here, I want to see something. Because I do have a weapon. It's a wooden sword, but a weapon nonetheless, right? So, can I draw a weapon? I can draw a weapon. Can I hit him?
This one needs something. What's it?
So it seems like I can't do, like, lethal damage. Like, and maybe that's because it's a wooden sword, but I still think it would do something. What happens if I punch him? Yeah, I do, like, no damage to him. So, it's not that I can't swing at him, right? So, if you've played, like, what is it? Forgotten City. That's the one I'm thinking of. If you played Forgotten City, that was a quest with, the concept was, they have this thing called the Golden Rule. And if you break the Golden Rule, everything goes to shit, right? The Golden Rule was, basically something like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, don't be a bad person. Don't do it was the sins of the many shall be the sins of the one. So basically, the sins of the one will be the sins of the many. So basically the idea was like, if someone does a bad thing, the world ends. So if you accidentally like stole something, it would just start fucking shaking and everyone would die. So I guess it's not like that with this one at least.
You will find all that is necessary at the farm.
Okay, so we need double the ingredients. Yeah, the many shall suffer the sins of the one. All right, let's look at this fucking recipe. For 10 bottles, bees. Who the fuck puts bees in tea? Bees? I'm sorry, like the rest makes sense. Bees. Okay, 4 bees, 4 grapes, 4. Okay, I think I know what we need. But, like I get honey, but bees? Bees. We're putting bees in our tea now. Okay. Alright. Here's the farm. Okay. Hi, Sly Boots. I love you. Okay. We're just gonna grab... Can I poison him? Like, would that work? Garlic. I'm just taking everything, bro. Nightshade. None of these are the herbs I need, by the way, which is hilarious. Lavender. Honey is just bee regurgitation. That's true, but the way they phrase it makes it think it's like we're just putting a whole fucking bee in there. Just shove it on in there. And I was like, I don't think that's what we want to do, but okay. Alright, apparently we need to look for the farm. That's where the ingredients are. Because we need like thistle, yeah, we don't, well, lavender was one of them, right? We haven't found thistle yet. But good thing I have a human heart. At least we have that. Oh my god, I'm afraid of you. It's over here? Yeah, I don't like the thundering noise they're making. I don't like that. Okay. Maybe it's over here? Let's see. Yeah, there's a little, I guess we'll need a bee's nest. Oh, I don't like that noise. I don't like that noise. I don't like that noise. Here we go. Nope, no garden. Okay. There's a little like fucking orb thing there. Looks like a Meridia's Beacon. if I fucking somehow managed to trigger the Meridia's Beacon quest in here, I think I'd just kill myself. I think I'd just give up. Okay, what's over here? Oh. Amusing mud crab. What? I don't have any money. Okay. Thank you, amusing mud crab. Okay, I guess we can... The merchant is a mud crab. You know what? That's fine. You go. Good for him. Starting a small business. You love to see it. Yeah, where the fuck is the farm? Alchemy shop. That's my thing, is I thought it'd be by the alchemy shop, but I don't see much. Yeah, there's like little target practice places. I'm not seeing a farm.
You again? What now?
Where do you get the ingredients?
You can find Jazbay grapes in Cedrith Kegran. They grow underfoot. The rest can be found at the farm.
Okay, the grapes are
Go
just gonna
to
be
the
wherever.
inn, then take a right. A split will lead you to the mycelium. Then you'll have to find your own way to the farm.
Okay, inn, take a right, mycelium, farm. Okay, so there's the blacksmith. Where's the inn? I am not good at directions. Oh. Just guys being dudes, I guess. Okay, inn. Oh, hey. Oh, wait, no. I thought that was a pretty lady for a split second. It's just the fucking blacksmith. Inn? Wait, is this the inn? Okay, inn. I don't think that's the inn. No. Yeah, no, that's not the inn. Okay. Inn. Fuck. Where is it? Let me look at the fucking map. Inn. Oh, wait, mycelium? I guess it's there. Yeah, so let's head over. That's the building we're looking for, mycelium. I don't know what a fucking mycelium is, but I guess we're about to find out. So let me make sure I'm heading in the right direction. Right smack towards it. Perfect. Okay. I don't see any Jazbay grapes, though. They said Jazbay grapes were just, like, hanging out, and I don't really see them. But I guess we just gotta keep looking. So let's go in here. Apparently the farm should be in here somewhere. So, let's see. Oh, is that a dead body? What is this? Oh, it's dwarven spiders. Maybe I should take just as much as I can to, like, sell shit. I can sell it to the mud crab. Yeah. And then I can get my money, and maybe I can get the fuck out of here. Mazat. You can always come back here. Farm. There we go. Farm. Okay. Because that's the thing is how much gold do I have right now? Like 150? We're far away from 500, but we're getting there. Ooh, it is very pretty in here. Okay. So hopefully we'll probably be able to find the Jazbay grapes here too. It looks like there's like all kinds of shit over here. Okay, thistle. I think we need 4 thistle. Any more? What are the brain thingies doing down here? Can you not leave him alone? I think Fly Amantia was one too. Let's see. I'm just gonna pick up everything I find, although I know I need double of stuff, and I'm not seeing doubles quite yet. I think I just need to, like, look at the ground. Any more thistle? There we go, more mushrooms. More mushrooms. Need more bleeding crown. You never know when you'll need it, right? So I'm just grabbing fucking everything. Yeah, I'm still not seeing any grapes or anything like that. Let's see. Oh, bees? No. That's what we need to find, is we need to find a beehive. More thistle. Let me look back at the recipe. It was, we'll need 4 bees, 4 grapes, 4 fly mancha, and 2 thistle. Okay, so we have enough thistle. I think we have enough mushrooms. Yes. So we just need the grapes and the bees. Okay. Are there any bees over here? Any bees? That's a creep cluster. Not what I need. This is big though, so we might still find some stuff. It's gonna take a while to walk around through and here entirely. Let's see. It's just the bees that I need now. Maybe I shouldn't have walked all the way down. They are netches? Oh. Well, I don't like the netches and their little funky sounds. I don't know what it is, but those sounds like freak me out. Alright, mountain flower. Thought I saw bees. More mountain flowers. But still no bees, right? When you get bees in Skyrim, it's like a beehive, right? Let's head to... Oh, here we go. Bees. I see the bee houses. There we go. Alright. Bees. 5 bees. Perfect. And now we just need some Jazbay grapes. Okay. Hey.
Got something to say?
What is this place?
It's a farm. Can't you see? Don't you dare trample over my carrots.
Yes, ma'am.
Naughty's days.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering is, like, can I ask someone, like... Oh, note. Bring along Yura and Nawan a couple of days times the painting will be ready. Oh, I can churn some butter? Wait, what? Take butter? Butter! Yay! Okay. Do you have any grapes? What do you got for sale?
Fruits, greens, honey, and wine.
Do you have grapes? Because I'm lazy. They're all over Soulstime. Can make armor out of their hide. Ooh. She doesn't have any... Yeah, she doesn't have any of that thing. But, I'll sell her this. Better than nothing, right? 163, alright? I'll take the bees, too. Yeah, it's the Jazbay grapes is what I need. Wonder if we can find them in here if we have to go back up to land. There's the fishing rods. I don't particularly want to do any fishing. Yeah, they said that we could find the grapes just on land, like regular land. So we'll head back, I guess. But I kind of want to see what more is in the mycelium. Because that's like... Oh wait, there's more farm? Unless I just went the wrong fucking way. I think I just went the wrong way. Yeah, we'll head back. I think I went the wrong way. That's okay. We can probably leave, though, by the bee houses. I just have to go in a different direction. So let's go back to the farm. And then let's see. I think there might be a path to go back up here. Because we took a big windy thing down, if I recall correctly. Although maybe it's just across here. Let's see. Yeah, I see a little outpost, like, not an outpost, but like something over there. Climbing over the rocks. No, that's just architecture. How the fuck do I get out of here? Let's see. Brew some tea in accordance with the recipe. So I can brew the tea over here then? Oh no, I guess I have to go back there. Let's just see. We'll just follow the direction for brewing the tea so we can, like, figure out where we have to go to leave. Because that's the thing is right now I'm just like, I don't know where the fuck we are. Okay. So I guess maybe the pathway up is over here. I feel like the fucking duck song. Got any grapes? Hi, wizard! Oh boy. That's gonna be hard. I'll try. I'll try, but I can't make any promises on that one. Okay. Let's see. I still need grapes. That's what I need is grapes. Okay, here. Oh, that's where I came in from. Okay. I see where it is. Okay. I don't have to think about it until 9:30 again. Okay, 9:30. And then I can say thing. Okay, let's see. We just need 4 grapes. Got any grapes? More dead bodies. Well, what's this lever do? Oh, I need a key. Okay. We'll head back to upstairs. Hopefully we can find some grapes. I don't know why there's no grapes. They said that grapes would just be like underfoot, I think is what they said. So I guess that means it's just like they're wherever. But I don't see any freaking grapes. I didn't accidentally pick them up, did I? Jazbay grapes. No? Okay. We need 4 Jazbay grapes so we can brew tea. Because person who enslaved me wants tea. And I guess that's just...
You over there.
What?
Back yourself in armor
with that orb? Did you see that? What's going on there? Huh, okay. I do love treating mud crabs, but unfortunately now's not the time. Oh, here we go. Okay. One, so they're more like on the street. Okay, I was looking in grass. Oh, shit. I was doing so good. Okay. We'll extend the timer. Damn it. Okay, 4 more. 4 more. I think just 1 more now at this point. And then we should be good to make the tea. So I need one more grape. 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 Oh, I think. Here it is. Okay. All right. Let's brew some tea, and we should be okay. And we should have enough to make it twice. Just because apparently that's something we need to do. So let's head over here. Ooh. Okay. And we'll make some tea. Normally I like making tea, but this is quite the odd circumstance. Alright, let's head over here and whoop. Alright. Alright, this quest is stressful. I'm ready to just go home. Okay. Tea. Can I use cooking pot? There we go. Okay. Okay. We made it twice. Alright. So. Sir. Mr. Sir. Oh, hey, Sly Boots. Mr. Sir. I have your tea. I have the tea. Not like the tea is in the hot gossip, as in like... Oh, shit, I keep saying the word! the word! I'm trying, bro. I swear I'm thinking. I swear. Okay, he's in council hall. So let's see that, and we'll see what happens. Hello? Hello? Tea? I have it.
What do you want?
I have your tea.
Let me taste.
It's pretty good, right?
Pooh, disgusting.
Oh.
You call this tea? Are you trying
what do you want me to tell you?
Go make some new. Right
well,
now,
lucky for you, I made 2 batches.
Until it is of adequate quality.
I hate this guy. Like, I know we're supposed to hate him, but like, I really hate this guy.
When you have a decent brew.
Alright, well, here you go.
This one needs something.
I made it again. Sheagorth's tightest claim in the city. Man! Man!
You did everything right.
I think I did.
Oh, revolting! What a worthless Enwa you are!
Okay.
Alright, we have no time for this. Go back to Tamina and grab some invisibility potions.
Okay.
I will be waiting for you near the entrance to Balzaf.
Balzaf.
That is slightly
Balls
east
off.
of Sendu's
Perfect.
house. With haste.
Alrighty. Invisibility potions. So thankfully, it seems like they're right over here. Oh wait, no, that's just leading us outward. Are we really just doing fetch quests for him until we like find our freedom? It sounds like there's multiple chapters with this. So I don't. How many chapters are there total? We're on chapter 2 right now. So I don't know how long this is gonna last. We really got ourselves in a pickle. So let's see. Hey, oh, I don't. Listen, not to be a hater. I don't think that's how you do that, actually.
Huh?
I need invisibility potions.
You know, I've got a strong feeling you're not the only one serving this elf. First tea, then acid, and now he wants me to hand him valuable
I'm just the
goods.
messenger, lady.
Like
oh,
that.
shit.
I should say not.
But surely you wouldn't have asked for them without reason.
I don't care about his reasons. Either he comes here himself and pays for the goods, or he goes without.
He's not gonna like to hear that. He's probably gonna kill me for that. He's so done with me after the tea debacle. Oh, it's Jover. It is so Jover. Alright. He should be by Balls Off. So let's find where Balls Off is, and then we should be okay. Can I? Okay, maybe going through Bones is not a good idea. What he has planned, he needs me. Okay, well this is. I'm eager to see what he has planned for me, cause I'm a little afraid. I'm actually very afraid. I'm gonna be real with you. Okay. Hey, bestie.
You don't seem to be in a hurry. Do you have the potions?
About that.
Stupid.
Somehow that's more concerning. Yeah, I'm like,
They are not vital. Now, let's get down to business. We are headed for Balzac.
Do you like my friend?
City of talented scholars and skilled artisans. Dwemer vaults were only safe for the Dwemer themselves. Your top priority will be to protect me and provide.
I mean, I'd be really good that if you gave me back my weapons and armor. Like, I can do that, but I want my weapons.
First, I need to know your combat preferences. Sword or spear?
Sword, please.
So, you like swinging canes and what?
I guess you
kind
could
of
call
weapon
it that.
do you prefer?
Something swift, one-handed.
Take your armor.
Wait, do I get my armor back?
Let me know when you're done.
Oh no, he gives me stuff. Wait, hold on. Wait, do I get to keep? Ooh! Do I get to keep it? Look at him without the helmet, though. Like, he looks so sexy without helmet. Okay. Not wooden sword. Elven sword. There we go. Alright. Well, I'm ready. Sly Boots, why don't... Actually, I kind of want to see what happens when we put Sly Boots in, Sly Boots in action. It's a mixed set of armor. That's fine. Yeah, it could be worse.
Speak quickly.
I'm ready.
Stay close by and don't lag
I have a
behind.
distinct feeling I will not be the one lagging behind. I'm gonna be real with you, but let's go into Balls Off. Balls off, balls off, balls off, balls off. I have the humor of a 12-year-old boy, but that's okay. All right, let's go, bestie. Come on. We're gonna get this done and over with.
Through the ancillary tunnels.
Is it cool if my bestie, my other bestie comes with?
You have no business in the left wing. I do my best to avoid it.
I think Sly Boots is blocking him. Oh no. Because I want to hear what he's saying, but I'm like, oh shoot. All right.
Our ultimate goal is the Dwemer Library.
Hi, Grammy. Welcome in, gamer. I accidentally got enslaved. I just wanted to join the Stormcloak, so now I'm enslaved by this asshole. I didn't intend to start a Project AHO playthrough, but here we are. Here we are. Come on. God. Sly Boots. Okay, I love you, Sly Boots. I think you're gonna need to go for a little bit. He's blocking the way. I don't think he is. He's rude to me. I don't like him. He's a bitch. Okay, Sly Boots, buddy, you gotta get out. Sly Boots, you gotta get out of the way, buddy. I'm trying. But, oh my god. Okay. Yeah, just come with me. And then, why don't you... Oh my god, why don't you wait... Actually, no. Follow me. Come here. Just get out of the way. One of those monsters doesn't give you much of an option as to whether you play through it or not. Yeah, I just kind of... Because that was my thing. I was like, could we have left? Like, once we got in there initially? Could I have just been like, oh, okay, just getting by? Or was I just donezo? Like, that's what I'm not sure of. Here, you wait here for a second. Okay. Follow me. Now you're good. I just want to make sure the stupid ass over here got through.
These canals most likely supplied water to the whole city. Try not to touch anything.
The moment the orc has you in the conversation, you're locked in. Oh. Anyway, touch. Touch. Oh, fuck! Can I use my other hand? Oh, okay. I'm like 4 years old, by the way. I don't know if that's gonna be an issue. Yeah, I have no stamina. The sword's enchanted though, so that's pretty cool. But hey, at least by the time we're done with this, I'll oh, heck yeah. Okay, now we have the 2 weapons again. Perfect. Okay. Alright, you good? Alright, here we go. What happens if I let him die? That's what I'm wondering.
Don't hit these pressure plates.
Touch.
You're in trouble.
Touch. Alright, I won't, because I don't want to get yelled at. Alright, any others? Okay, I think we're good. Alright, scroll of reanimate greater corpse. Okay.
Howdy, we don't have much time.
Dwarven dagger. I'll take that. Can I take these, or are you gonna be upset at me? Okay, it looks like he's letting me take them. So I'm gonna. Whoop! I didn't mean to take a sit. Sorry. Okay, we're going. Wait, no, wrong way. We're going. Hi.
On our way to the library, we'll lock all half-wit, like Baron, nose dives into balls.
Alright, here. There we go. Now we have... There we go. Now we're cooking. Alright, this one does do damage. Here, can I... He, like, stop for a moment. Come on, move! Hello? Okay, you have... Can I swing? It wasn't letting me swing.
Steam turbine ahead of us. I've no clue what it does, but it produces much heat and
Wait, is that what's doing
noise
damage
along
to
the
me?
way.
The steam? I don't think so. There's more baddies up ahead. I really hope I don't... I don't die. Can I still use my magic real quick to just like do like a little... It's not letting me attack or use spells. There we go. Okay, I don't know what happened there. Alright, here we go. Hi. Oh my god, they do damage. Okay. Bro, I'm gonna die. Okay, you gotta... Can we let Sly Boots take a hit? I'm gonna step back a little bit. Here, you Sly Boots, you do your thing. Alright, I need a break. I need a breather, okay? I need a breather. Thank you. I'm level 4. I'm not even level 4. I'm level 3. Yeah, we'll take the XP from it at least. You know, that's... Gotta count for something. I am taking a bunch of stuff, so maybe we can sell it to the mud crab and pay our way out or something. I don't even know if that's a valid option. I'm probably gonna be disappointed when that doesn't pan out, but I'll try, you know, get the guy out of here. Maybe he can help me. That'd be the nice thing to do, at least. There's a pressure plate there. Did you know that? Did you know that? Thank you for the hydrate, Belle. There's a trap there. Make my way back to balls off. Okay, well now he's just gonna think I'm a damn fool. Alright. Do I still have my weapons at least? Okay. How much XP did that take from me? Oh, okay. Alright, let's try this. Try this again. Okay. I don't know why it's like... I don't know. I feel like I don't have much control over myself. Okay, come on. There we go. Alright, come on. Let's go back to where we left off, I guess. And not get hit by a trap this time. Welcome in, gamer. We started a new playthrough with the intention of fucking bitches, and it did not go the way I had planned. At all. Okay, we're not... Okay, we gotta watch. No, huh? Okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Here, hit him, Jasper. Come on. Okay. Right. Come on. You missed, you fool. Okay, come on. There we go. One more. There we go. Okay, Dwarven Bolt. There we go. That'll be good for our crossbow. Okay. Okay, no more steppy. Alright, F5. I need to save more often. That's what I need to do. Okay, come on. Put those away. And then let's head in here. Again, lighting in here looks great. Alright, where is the asshole? Oh, great. Okay, jump! There we go. That should be fine. Making sure there's no other steppies. Love the ominous skull on the floor. Okay. We still just cruising for a bruising then? Nothing happening here?
Come on.
Oh, that's what that does. Okay. I was like, am I gonna die now? Oh gosh, I don't even remember how to block. Can I? I need stamina. There we go. Come on. Okay, there we go. Alright. Another amethyst. Alright, and then let's heal myself real quick, because I am still getting used to the hang of this, the hang of melee combat again. It's been a hot minute. Alright, you go first. Why don't you go first, buddy pal friend? I'll take up the rear, okay? I'll do some archerying, shooting and rooting and tooting. Are we going through this door? Is the door the way? Here, actually, at this point, yeah, we'll favorite that real quick. There's a guy that made himself into a crab and he's still working. Yeah, that's what I found, right? We found the merchant guy. So I'm like, maybe he can help us? I don't know. We'll have to see that once we get out of balls. The ball place. Oh my gosh, he popped off there. Okay, he has no more juice in his trunk, but he did pop off for, oh God, let me move. Okay, there we go. That's the thing, is at times it's like not letting me move. Okay, health would be good. Let's put a point in heavy armor. Well, yeah, we'll put a point in heavy armor. We have some heavy armor on right now, so the extra beef could be helpful. Alright. Ancient Dwarven Sword, does that do better? Do any of these, do I have the max, like, weapons? Looks like it. Okay. I mean max damage, I guess, for what I got. What's in here? Pretty cool looking. Potion of Plentiful Healing. Sealed Spell of Alteration. Yeah, I'll take these if you don't want them. I don't have any, oh, like a voice crab. Okay, yeah, that I haven't found yet. That I'll have to keep looking for. Now what?
Behold the Etherium Abyss.
Cool.
Look, the spiders I told you about. They heed us no attention. Not a bother.
That's cool.
Right. Doubt you've heard of the stories about Etherium and its incredible property.
No.
Or of the great tragedy, excessive mining. Huh?
Oh, you're gonna fuck with me, but nothing else is. Okay. Oh, I was off guarded. Okay. How do I block? Because I feel like he's trying to, like, I'm clicking to attack, and then he's just not attacking. You see that? He, like, what is he doing? What is Mance doing? Well, my heavy armor went up. Can I, dual wield blocking's weird. Yeah, I want to dual wield, but it's like, I'm trying to take my sword. It's not even letting me take my sword out. At least we have Sly Bones here to, like, pull up the rear. Yeah, it wouldn't even let me take my thing out. Because at first I was like, wow, I'm really stupid for messing up the fight. You know, the Ice Wraith fight. But it's like, okay, maybe it's not me. Maybe it isn't me. Maybe it's, oh, Lord. There we go. One more. There we go. I think I just need to be more conservative and not, like, spam. You know what I mean? I think that's why I need to just get used to with this. Scroll of Detect Life. Scroll of Water Breathing. Potion of Extreme Healing. Don't mind if I do. Okay, there we go. There we go. And if nothing else, even though we're not using Restoration, it'll give us extra XP. So, you know, that's always useful. Let's see. Not Dwarven Arrow. Ancient Dwarven Sword. There we go. Alright. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. It does look very cool. Like, it's a very big, like, chamber. The spider's not attacking and just Fortnite dancing near us is kind of tripping me up, though. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Can you please walk faster if you're gonna be a cunt? Oh my god. I hate escort quests so much! Where are we going, bro? Are you talking? Are you yapping? Yeah, he's yapping. He's yapping. That's crazy. Balls off.
By the so-called Etherium War. study and extraction of Everium ceased
Gold ingot could be valuable. Alright. Continue yapping. I'm gonna look ahead and see what the hell we're doing. Wait, hold on. Dwarven boots of stamina. Wait, those could actually be really useful. Hold up. Dwarven boots. They're -1, but the extra stamina is actually worth it, I think. Because we're constantly running out of stamina. So I think that's worth. Come on!
Hustle up.
Fucking get out of. Oh my god, he's stuck! He's stuck on the spider! I'm here! It's you that needs to move! Move your ass! Oh my god. Oh, this is painful, dude. Come on! Alright, let's see. Quicksilver. Take that, take that. Yeah, okay. I'm just looking for shit that's valuable. Right. God, why can't he walk faster? Oh my god! I'm just gonna make sure he's not stopping. Okay, now he's stopping because he's probably... No? Okay, he's good. Because that was my thing is he stopping so he can, like, say something? I'm not sure. Oh, there's more baddies up ahead. Alright, well, let's try this again. That, oh my god! Okay, that time we cooked him. Okay. Alright, next one. Alright, watch for our stamina. Okay, now that our stamina's back up. Yeah! Oh my god! Okay, so I think the problem was I was spamming, right? And it's kind of like already queuing attacks for me, so I only need to really click the button twice. Yeah. Okay, he's yapping. I'm looking on ahead. I'm keeping the path clear for you so you can have your Disney monologue moment. I'm also gonna heal myself real quick. Anything else up ahead? Let me actually do this right now, too. Okay. Anyone else? Making sure he's not stopping. Okay. Let's see. Come on. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. Okay. There we go. Now there's something for me to fight over here. Alright, let's start with this one. Oh, there's a lot of them. Okay, there we go. Alright. Wait for my stamina to regen. We'll let Sly Boots take it. Alright, on to this one. What? There we go. Okay. And then on to this one. Yeah. Yeah. Woo! Okay. I love that animation. That's awesome. Alright. I'll clear it out for you, boss man. I'll clear it out. Oh, there's little shelves here. Plentiful healing, dwarven metal. I'll take the scrolls. I really just want to sell shit, honestly. Nordic barnacle. Okay, that's weird. I'll take it. That's the thing is, if nothing else, I can sell this stuff, you know? There we go. Gold ingot. I do want to do some smithing, though, so the gold ingots actually are going to be really useful later on. Are we going uppies? Okay, we're going uppies. Uppies we go. Okay. At least I'm getting the hang of the dual wielding, though. If nothing else, it's training. Oh, wait. Are we not going? Okay, we are going uppies. We are going uppies. Maybe if I go through there, it'll teleport him to me and I don't gotta wait. Alright, come on, buddy. Come on. Here, Sly Boots, let's get you going downstairs already so you don't block his path. Get you out of the way, because this is tight quarters we're in. Alright, he's coming. Can I press the button? I'm not allowed to press the button. Why would you put a button there and not let me press it? Also, these little, like, look like eyeballs. Kind of freaky. Alright, you coming? Old man? Oh my god. There he goes. Come on. Oh, did Sly Boots get in the way again? God damn it. Okay. I love you, Sly Boots, but Jesus. Alright, are we good?
Need something?
Come on.
Yes, yes. Have a good day. Warm sand to your feet. A happy new year. Fare thee well.
Sure. Okay. Press the button. Press the button.
Wherever I will collectibles I need. Ah, here it is. The greatest of all known library.
It is very cool.
Take it all in. Marvel.
Alright, what books do you need? It didn't specify what books he actually... Here we go. Oh, and this little... Can I not get in there? I thought that was the central hall. Oh, it's for the spiders to go through. Okay, that's kind of cool, actually. Hold up. Am I going the right way? Kind of. No. Okay. Maybe through here? God, it's like a maze, dude. Okay. The central hall. I have no idea. What books does he say he needs? Provide me with a list. Okay. What's the list of books? Let's see. Fellowship of the Temple, Holidays of the Iliac Bay, and Mars Tier. Okay. There we go. Tons of spell films here, making this place rather useful for mages. Rather use. Yeah, right now he's not really useful. Listen, Vanya's gonna have a great time when we do this quest with her. But Jasper, I don't even know if Jasper knows how to read. Not Nightingale. Let's see. Are they in here? Biography of Berenzia, Fae Falcon. That wasn't one. Lots of spells. The sealed spells look neat. Light armor forging. Hey, I'll take that. Let's see. Scroll of stone flesh. Fast healing. I'm not sure if there's anything in here that I need. We did read ABCs for barbarians. I was very disappointed it didn't go past C. I didn't like that. Okay. Let's see. Unless I'm missing some. I should be looking on the bottom too, I guess. Let me see. Let me read the list again, because I think we did just go in a circle. Yeah, we'll go in one of the other chambers and see. Okay. Let's head... I'm assuming we can't go in here? No. Okay, it's just decoration. Let's go in here. And see if there's anything over here. That'll be good. Alright, let's see. Can I just stand on the... Yeah. King Edward, Part 6. Healing. I already have healing. Cure wounds. Sure. Black arts on trial. I don't think that's one we need. Dwarves. We don't need that one. Take the sealed spell. No? Am I missing stuff? I feel like I'm not seeing any of the shit we need. Unless I'm not looking in the right spot. Is there another one over here, or is that where I came from? Okay, apparently there's another wing. I think it's this one that I haven't been to yet? No. That one? Okay, it's kind of unclear, but, you know, it is what it is. Okay, well, we were facing that orb, so I think it's this one's the next one. It does feel kind of like a maze. Not sure if that's on purpose or not. But, you know. Okay, let's see. Drummer inquiries? No. Yeah, I don't see the fucking books we need, dude. Alright, well, I'll look into it more next time we play this character. I'm not sure when we're going to come back to this character, but this was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This definitely did not go the way I planned. I'll say that. This is definitely, yeah, I don't know. This is not what I expected to happen at all. So we'll definitely finish this. I don't know when we're going to play this playthrough again, because I am probably going to still do Cyberpunk on Wednesdays. I don't know yet. We'll have to see. But thank you again so much, gamers, for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Let me go to my little thingy. Beep-a-dee. There we go. Oh, this one? Did I just play? Huh? Huh? Okay. But thank you, gamers, so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. I hope you had fun. I had a lot of fun, too. So let me see if I'll let me do this, even though my Twitch chat is broken. So if you'd like to hang out with me, we're going to start doing community events soon, or get noticed when I stream. I do have a Discord. I also have a YouTube where I post all my VODs. I'll be posting this one as well. And then I also have my miscellaneous social media and my book with all my OCs and stuff. And if you want to know what mods I use, this is the mod list I use. But yeah, let's go find someone to raid. We got a lot of lovely raids tonight, so I want to return the favor. Let's see who's streaming right now. We'll go raid Yoro. Yoro is a former student of mine and also my friend. I actually am working on a cover for her and Kohana. I got to mix for it, and it's really, 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 really fun. I'm really proud of how the mix turned out, so I'm excited for you guys to listen to it. But we will raid her, and you know what? Even in the spirit of things, we'll still go with Wench raid. Okay, we'll still go with Wench raid. I think that'll be good. You know, I think that'll be okay. So, gamers, I will see you on Friday for karaoke and Cyberpunk, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Okay,